HD Plus 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The New York Knicks came back from down 20 points in the third quarter, forced overtime, and then beat the Celtics 108-105 in Game 1 of their second-round playoff series at TD Garden. Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby each scored 29 points for the winners. The Celtics missed an NBA playoff record 45 three-point shots in this game.
You got to give them credit. It's a really talented team on both ends of the floor, well connected, and they make it tough. So you just got to be really intentional about what you're trying to do and who you're trying to tackle or what action we want in those moments.
Jason Tatum scored 23 points for the Celtics in the loss. And to make matters worse, Kristaps Porzingis left in the first half with an illness. Sam Hauser left in the third quarter with a sprained ankle. Neither player returned. Game 2 is tomorrow night at the Garden. Out west, Oklahoma City kicked away an 11-point lead with under 5 minutes left at home. They lost to Denver in Game 1, 121-119. Cleveland's Kenny Atkinson was voted the NBA's Coach of the Year last night. In hockey news, it was the worst-case scenario at the lottery for the Bruins. Coming in, they had the 5th overall selection and wound up with pick 7 this summer. The New York Islanders moved up 10 spots to capture the 1st overall pick. Red Sox had last night off. They continue their homestand tonight at Fenway Park against Texas. Former Patriots wideout Julian Edelman was elected to the team's Hall of Fame yesterday. And the Baltimore Ravens have released kicker Justin Tucker. He's facing charges of sexual misconduct with 16 different massage therapists. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches Law, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit CatchesLaw.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Get
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT loading up.
Let me hear you say, "Boo! Boo! Boo!"
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag!
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that. Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fence and having some fun.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
And it's like running several days, like it's like several nights. It's a real play. It's not community theater. I mean, he's being compensated, and it's downtown Boston at a theater that holds over 1,000 people. I mean, it's a real situation. This is going to sound naive, but have you guys been to Broadway?
Yes.
Okay, I have not.
Yeah.
Do all the, of course you have, Adam. You've probably been on many community trips.
I went on a high school field trip and saw 2 or 3 Broadway shows in 1988.
There you go.
So, yes, I've been to the Great White Way.
Okay, are those theaters as big as the Wilbur?
Bigger.
They're bigger.
Oh, much bigger, yeah.
Oh, I thought that they were maybe a little more intimate, like because I know there's a lot of them.
There are some that are, but the bigger ones with the big shows are bigger than the Wilbur.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, when we went to
But,
see The Mystery of Edwin Drood and Big River, which was a musical based on the Tom Sawyer Huck Finn arc, those are big shows, Fred. Big theaters, big rooms.
Okay, but a real on Broadway play can be in a smaller theater, or are those off Broadway plays? All right, no one knows. I don't expect you guys to know. I mean, I'm not making funny. I don't know. I've never been to Broadway.
Broadway theaters generally have a seating capacity of 500 or more seats. The largest Broadway theater, the Gershwin, has a capacity of almost 2,000.
Okay, so again, I guess the Wilbur would be a mid-sized Broadway theater.
Yeah, sure.
So he's working a real play. So it's interesting to me.
It was back in March. It looks like when the play happened.
Oh yeah,
Staged back in March.
The last play that I recall being at is I saw Cats when I was a little kid, and they went through the audience because, the Cats go through the audience. This wasn't in Broadway. This was in Michigan. And they asked me where I was from, and I said I was from Pittsburgh because that's where I was born. And my dad and mom were like, "Oh, you stupid idiot." They mean, where do you live? And then the cat made fun of me too.
Oh, the Cats interacted with the audience members?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that not how Cats usually is?
I've never
Faster for Jones. I'm not skin and bones. In fact, I'm remarkably fat. I don't haunt pubs. I have 8 or 9 clubs. For I'm the St. James's Street cat.
What maniac put him on TV? Now he's just bad. He's the worst, and you could tell right away he was a dick, and like a phony dick. And he's a comedian who's fat, and yet he would get ultra sensitive if anyone called him fat. So he's a comic who's obviously overweight and played a fat cat in Cats, who's saying I'm fat, and then when he's made fun of for being fat.
Who was the guy who did that?
The guy from Star Wars and American Dad, George Picard. That's the character name, right?
Oh yeah, that guy. I forget the actor's name.
Yeah,
okay.
I just know him from Star Trek, and
right.
He's on American Dad. He's one of the voices, but yeah, he's like kind of drunk, and he's bringing him up, and he's kind of making fun of him for being fat. Or actually, Corden brings him up, and then
Patrick Stewart is his
Patrick Stewart like makes fun of him for being fat, and then James Corden looks like he's gonna acts like he's gonna fight him, which is pretty funny. Because you're just like, oh, yeah. Are you?
Yeah, you're the guy who stops traffic in Times Square to do Broadway.
Yeah,
in the middle of the street.
I wonder
it's
who.
Okay,
like they were so gung ho on getting YouTube views that and that was carpool karaoke, which I contend if you got musicians to do anything, big stars to do anything, you get 1 million hits on YouTube. If you just got them to perform, you'd get you could get them to perform anywhere. Like if you get like Adele or like Metallica, I'm trying to think of people who did it. Mm-hmm. Like you're gonna get millions and
Bruno
millions
Mars,
of hits. Yeah, hits. It just them being in a car wasn't, I don't even think, part of it. But they just got so caught up in that they ignored that he appealed to no one. Really, no one.
In the end, didn't we find out it wasn't even him driving? They had like the car on a flatbread or something like that?
Yeah, they was on a fat bread truck. It was on a bread truck. They never would have, it wouldn't have been much bread of a bread truck when they were done.
So there is
they would have run through them.
There is a website called The Cut, which is style, self, culture, power. It's a fashion, magazine website. It's got over 1 million followers, and they were, of course, all over the Met Gala last night. They sent a stir through fashion circles by tweeting out at one point, "I'm so sorry to ruin your night this early, but James Corden is on his way to the Met Gala."
Who made his moo-moo?
Has he lost any weight, or has he put it on after leaving his TV gig?
No, I don't know what he was wearing, but there were plenty of captions underneath saying his outfit is so creative. What is this, James Borden? Oh, instead of Corden. Okay, I think he's just wearing a tux or something. But there he is. No, just black suit. Oh, well, black is very slimming. So you wear a black T-shirt underneath a black jacket and, black pants and black
If you go to the Met Gala and you're all excited to go to the Met Gala, which apparently was yesterday, and then you see James Corden there, are you saying, oh, boy? But, he is a heterosexual man.
Sure.
He is married to a woman.
Right.
He is not at all, he's one of the straighter guys in the world. He has no interest in a sexual relationship
Zero.
with men.
That's not his thing. I'm married.
I'm married. Oh, I love boobies. They love them. Everything about a woman, the way that their boobies smell, I love them. I love.
And I feel like big bags of sand.
Right.
Wait, James Corden has a wife?
Shocking, but true.
Yes, I love. Well, my big history professor in college, it was married with children, and then married a dude at the chapel at our school. I mean, just because you're married with kids does not mean you're not gay. I mean, it can by no means doesn't mean that you're gay, not gay. I mean, there's a lot of people that sadly feel like they have to live that a lie. But
He doesn't have to.
well, I mean, does Tom Cruise? Does John Travolta?
No.
But they do. I mean, they do. Isn't it pretty common knowledge that John Travolta, like Cruise, whatever, but John Travolta, I mean, there's like I've seen photographs of him like tongue kissing guys.
I think Tom Cruise operates in this like realm of asexuality now. He's a Thetan level 4. He's operating on a different plane.
Okay. Because it might not be fair with Tom Cruise because I think that Travolta's almost leaning into it now. Like, is my understanding. I mean, there's that photo of him, unless it's an AI photo of him like kissing that dude like while he's getting on the plane. I mean, I would assume that he's homosexual. I don't.
Yeah, but if photographers were allowed in here, they'd catch me and John kissing goodbye every day when we walk down to the elevator.
Yeah, but that's not. Because I always, when you guys do that, I always see if you're aroused.
No,
I keep my eye on that.
No, it's like a man bro thing.
Yeah. So that's what I was getting at.
Give us a kiss.
It doesn't reek of sexuality.
Right.
Oh, I love women. I love hair, and I love to do their makeup and have them. Oh, don't put it on me. No, I love to try on their clothes.
I'm trying to be sexual. I love vagina. I love to hug a vagina and do all the things.
Of the NFL.
I love their butts and touching their butts and feeling them.
Poking and patting.
Really? Really?
He has no idea.
You know, I love to see my mates at the pub after I bed one of my women and show them that I'm wearing their underwear. I have a thong on, you know.
To prove it.
Oh, you don't believe I have the underwear on? Join me in the stall and find out for yourself. Get a little closer. You could tell. I love my wife so much. Oh, I met her in the musical theater, where all great heterosexual relationships take hold. I met her while doing an off-Broadway production of the Harvey Firestein. What was the movie? Oh, Jesus Christ. What was the play, Adam?
Birdcage?
No.
God damn.
He wrote it. It was very controversial at the time.
Torch Song Trilogy.
Yeah. I met her doing Torch Song Trilogy. Oh. I met her doing a small independent film called Jux. She was the key grip.
That's when I knew that Tom Brady was, going away from any type of relatability when he started doing the Met Gala thing. 10, 12 years ago. I'm like, you know what? He wants nothing to do with this town. He has nothing to do with any of us. It's and Giselle, also a problem. I identified that when I would like to raise my hand and say I was among the first.
Giselle, but I contend, and I know Fred is on board with this, that Brady at the time, when he first started dating Giselle and then the two of them got married, really wasn't sure what was going on. She was dressing him up. She was leading him into circles.
He was going down to the park on the Esplanade there, the big playground down by the Hatch Shell.
Yeah.
And wearing this $2,000 overcoat.
Sure.
That was tailored just so with the right hat. I'm out there playing with my sons on the scooter and stuff. It's like, no, you're not. These clothes were laid out for you to specifically go out there and be photographed.
I think that you have, from people you've talked to, a pretty good idea of Brady's evolution. And John's right and you're right. So when Brady first started, he got hair transplants and a Lamborghini.
Well, he was a dork at the very beginning.
Yes. Remember, because he got the dumbest car you could get, and then
dated a party girl like Tara Reid and was just
he was he just went for whatever Carson Daly's chick. So what happened is then he was with Moynihan, and then they had a kid, and but then things kind of got away from him, and we've had this discussion a lot of times, and I think it's true, and it's no one's fault, is that Brady married one of the women in the world, and there's probably only a couple hundred of them, where when he's introduced at parties, there's the king of Morocco or the prince of Dubai.
Yep.
And then some art dealer kid, right. That's running around trading Picassos and flying around the globe, and they're like, "Oh, what do you do, sir? You throw the now football's the one where you throw, and what the boys hit you,
not soccer." No,
John. Now you've moved it into sport.
Sorry.
You went to the sports room.
Yes, my mistake.
But there's these people that are doing these incredible things, and he's just the jock football player, and in terms of money earned, he's not even in that. I mean, these are old families worth billions and billions of dollars. That yacht lifestyle, St. Bart's, south of France, tax haven in Morocco. What do you do for a living? I dabble in art dealing. Right? I have a gallery in Milan and a gallery in Berlin, and then I have a gallery in New York. These kinds of people. And then people in the fashion industry. And, he's way over his, you got to figure he was way over his head with that. So when you say they were laying out his clothes, I'm sure they were. And then I'm sure it was difficult in their relationship. Because for him, it's probably frustrating because he's I am to millions of women, the best, their fantasy. I'm the fantasy of millions and millions of women. But to you, I'm your plus one. I have to imagine that's very difficult.
Yep.
She tried. I mean, she was around Chestnut Hill. She went to that the bicycle thing,
spin, whatever.
Spin class.
Yeah, but the one right in Chestnut Hill, she used to go to that
Soul Cycle?
Soul Cycle, thank you.
Yeah.
She used to do Soul Cycle.
I'm not saying that, it got to be completely abnormal because, you see Brady out doing stuff, Toys R Us with his kid and Dedham when that was still open, and he would do normal things, but then it got away.
He's too famous. He's too famous. Who can blame the guy? He's too famous. He was too famous in Boston.
And then got too much money to where they become so isolated and so, wrapped up in their own world. And this is something we've talked about a lot, too, where it's it alters your reality. If you have so much money, the normal things that affect people don't affect you anymore. You've got too many layers, too much insulation, too many people protecting you or things protecting you from any of the stuff that really rich people have to deal with. But when you get to that wealthy level, that obscene wealth level, you don't have to deal with any of this stuff.
If you were Giselle, would you want to live in Boston? Why would you want to live in Boston?
If you could live anywhere, no,
I'm not sure I want to live in Boston now.
Exactly. And especially if your industry's not here, if your friends aren't here, if you have to go to a Soul Cycle in Chestnut Hill, and if you're like, why would she possibly want to live in Boston?
You go from sunning yourself on a yacht in the Mediterranean.
I would say at the very least, you live in New York or L.A. where you can walk around famous and nobody cares.
I think your people are in New York. You're not from this country.
But isn't it? I don't know if it's true because I haven't spent enough time in New York to really know. But the rub-out or the thing in New York is like Robert De Niro can walk down the street and go to a coffee shop, and people are like, "Yeah, Robert De Niro. So what? I saw him last week. It's no big deal."
There's that aspect of it, but I think also you're the people that in her industry, the people that the fashion industry's there, all that stuff is in New York. I think that New York would, if she lived in the States.
Well, she retired years ago from runway, Fred. Don't forget that she's retired, and she's just collecting a pension now. I love that.
Is there a pension program?
I loved it when she retired. Yeah, when she retired from runway. So she used to walk down there and then came back, but she retired. And Brady, I'm so proud of everything she accomplished on the runway. It's like, yeah, man, she hardly ever fell down. That is an accomplishment.
You guys are so naive. The quick changes, the pressure, the
influence,
listen. Look at the Met Gala and what they were doing. Did you know that Harvey Fierstein is 6'2"?
Really?
Yes, every inch of it.
No. He looks short next to Jeff Goldblum.
He's very thin now.
Yeah.
He's very, very thin. He he took Ozempic apparently, and he looks like an entirely different guy. He's very, very thin. An Ozempic guy, he says.
Oh.
Well, good for him. Oh, my. I've lost so much weight. Dear Lord.
Let's all watch Torch Song Trilogy together this
He
weekend.
has a very funny story about putting that production on with his grandmother in the audience.
Oh.
Because, there was just, there's straight up just, gay, mad gay sex in it. And, his grandmother was and she was like, oh, Lord. Harvey, what is this play you've created? All right, we will be back. Your Boston Celtics played last night, and it was a historically poor performance that they still could have won. So who knows? What would frustrate me the most is what happened in overtime. I think that would be what would frustrate me the most, because the Knicks should have won in regulation, and then it moved into overtime.
No, I have a bigger frustration than right just before overtime.
Oh, I'm interested in hearing. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
work with Hardy and Wallace.
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, what happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened, so change your lettuce and change your life. With Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. Last night, I had to be in the car for the first half of the first quarter or so. As the Celtics hosted the Knicks, as you already know. And on the radio, it sounded like it was at a neutral site. Because it was the Knicks fans were every bit as loud as the Celtics fans in the beginning of the game. That is for sure. I know it was a late arriving crowd, they said. Maybe not late. Maybe they were there for tip-off, but late.
Late arriving, late getting back to their seats after halftime. Now, the Celtics are up 61-45 at half. People are really taking their time watching that game. Lots of empty seats in the first 3-4 rows behind the bench and on the sidelines. And just whatever. You've got this one, right? And with a 16-point lead at half, I guess maybe I don't blame you for thinking that, and then they would extend that lead.
Towns dribbles, driving on Derek White, net at the rim. Derek White got a hand on the basketball. Tatum comes out of the pack with it, lead for Horford, two-hand slam. Timeout, top of it.
These boys all over. They all over like a cheap suit.
Thank you, Max. 72-52 at that point. With the Al Horford putback.
Well, Max is getting married, so it's on top of mind.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But as we were discussing earlier, you might be well served, instead of putting your money into Hawk to a crypto, to maybe just live bet any NBA team that goes down by 15 or more points, because, of course, the Knicks started coming back.
Pritchard, right hand, left hand, back in the right, attacks Hart, pump fake. Pritchard falls down, trying to protect the ball. Has it ripped away by Josh Hart. Pritchard turns it over. Jalen Brunson into the front court, pulls up on Tatum, three in the air, got it, down to 8. Celtics just dared the Knicks to get back in the game, and now they have.
That capped off, at that point, a 21-9 run for the Knicks. That made it 81-73. Knicks not content to tie the game.
Jalen Brunson moving to his right. Horford slides his feet. Horford forced him to the outside. Shot clock down to 8. Brunson getting into rhythm. Switches to the right hand. Here's the step back. Three in the air. Got another one. Jalen Brunson dominating the fourth quarter of game 1.
Which is pretty much going according to script. Jalen Brunson, clutch player of the year. He's out there. He's making shots. Now, it's all tied at 100. You got 28 seconds left. Celtics take a full timeout. All right? They've got the ball. They're going to bring it in. What do you do? Fred, John, I ask you. 28 seconds left. Tie game. What do you do?
Give the ball to Jason Tatum and try and get something going to the basket.
Quickly, or do you take your time? 28 seconds in a tie game.
You take your time.
You see, I completely disagree. The way they're shooting, and the way they were shooting specifically in the third quarter, you go and try and score right away. If you don't, you can foul on the other end, and then you can try it again. But what Jason Tatum does is he takes the ball, and we've seen this many times over the years, it gets the ball back.
They had a foul to give, though, remember?
Yes.
Yeah, so that would have changed things, because you would have had to foul twice.
That's right. Okay, all right. So did they still have one at that point?
Yeah, because
Horford ended up fouling with 5 seconds left.
Yes.
Okay. My point remains, though. Standing out there, well beyond the three-point arc, waiting for your shot, when you haven't hit a three-pointer, barely, all night long, this is how you're going to win the game? You're just going to stand out there and not move the ball. Ball movement was terrible in the second half last night. Absolutely putrid, so they didn't even try. I'm just going to dribble. I'm going to chuck one up. It doesn't go. And then the Knicks had a real chance to put this thing away. This was maybe the most shocking thing at the end of that game.
He beat the Pistons in Game 6. He enters to Towns. Towns returns it to Brunson. Floats it up in the left hand. It will not go in. Rebound, Al Horford. Did the Celtics get the timeout before time expired? There's .1 on the clock right now, so at the very least, they will walk to the scorer's table and determine how much time should be remaining.
Good. That was fun.
For that player missing that shot, how many times has he made that shot?
99 times out of 100.
Floater.
So that was my thing, is that, okay, look, you shot historically bad from three. I mean, you went 15 for 16 or
15 for 60.
Yeah, 15 for 60 from three. And so, look, you shoot a lot of threes, you win championships, that's fine. There are going to be games like this. But Brunson makes that shot, which is he got his look. It was bad defense. It was Thibodeau, God bless him, he got him in that position. Brunson makes that shot, like we said, 99 times out of 100, maybe even more. And he misses that, and he's smiling, which I love, actually. Like, Brunson just, like, instead of, like, kicking himself, he's like, I've done this enough. And then you go, all right, well, wow, that was hard. Now we just will win in overtime. Right. That's if I'm a Celtics fan. Brunson misses that shot. Phew. Oh, yeah. Wow, we did everything we could to lose this game, but now it's in overtime. There's 5 minutes, and let's go. Now it's time to beat the Knicks. It's time to put them away. Towns has been playing with 5 fouls for, a quarter and a half.
Yeah.
And so, let's go. Let's go here. Let's take care of business in overtime.
Brunson was in foul trouble early, too. He had 3 first-half fouls. I mean, there were a lot of times that the Celtics could have put this one away early.
Right, but I'm talking about specifically overtime now. Because, Towns has got 5 fouls. You're in a position where Brunson, clutch player of the year, missed a shot to win the game in regulation. Now all the bad three-point shooting is behind you. Now we're the better team at home is going into overtime. They had more rest. Everything is going for them. This is where I'm a Celtics fan, is where I'm frustrated.
But
because I asked the room, when it went to overtime, you had to assume the Celtics were going to win this game, correct?
I know I did.
I mean, you had to assume they were going to win the game.
Yeah, they got scared, but now they can pull it together. But everything that I was saying about the Celtics going into this series, their depth, if 1 or 2 or 3, even 3 guys have off nights, you can still get it done. When the Knicks show up and get good games out of Brunson, obviously, Karl Anthony Towns, Anunoby, and then Mikal Bridges in the overtime, no, you're not going to do that. When you have multiple starters, I'll say 3 that either don't play, Porzingis, because his mystery illness flared up again in the first half.
Rhea.
And you don't have respiratory. How dare you?
Respiratory bowels.
You don't take any shots from the paint in the third quarter.
Well, we can get to that, too.
Most of their points in the second quarter came from in the paint. So what do they do in the third? They just chuck everything from beyond the arc. Do any of them go down? No. Do they try anything different? No. Just keep shooting.
Well, and that's the thing. And especially with – and it's funny, they got matchups that they wanted. They were hunting matchups, and then they'd get them, and then they wouldn't take advantage of it. They would just chuck threes.
That's the thing. The Celtics had a lot of open threes that they missed in the first half. Those threes became contested in the second half, and they still kept shooting them. That's the problem here.
But let's say Tatum gets Towns. Like, they switch, and now Tatum's got Towns on him. Now take advantage of that. Like, get past
them to the basket nearly enough.
Take them to the basket.
Especially with foul trouble.
With foul trouble.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, is that they were working to get these matchups, and then they were just chucking up threes. Look, they're not going to miss this many threes again. And even if they do, it's a 7-game series. This isn't going to happen. They're going to win the series, right? It's just, you would like to think that you could be a little adaptable in game.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the thing. Orlando at least ran them off of 3, and they were forced to go to the basket. Last night, and everyone admitted it after the game, last night, during the game, they should have adapted. They should have started going to the basket. They never did. 34 of their first 40 shots from the field in the second half were threes.
And
Think about that for a second.
And John's right. After the game, they did admit it. They usually are very, kind of like almost combative.
Not last night.
No, but last night even they admitted they should have done something. I mean, you get a 20-point lead. You know, you can slow things down. They were getting the match again. They were getting the matchups they wanted. You could slow things down.
20 points. A 20-point lead in the playoffs is different than a 20-point lead in the second half during the regular season. Anyone can come back from anything inside of 30 during the regular season in the second half. However, in the second half of a playoff game at home, losing a 20-point lead, that's shocking, especially for this team who should know better.
So, again, the historic reference that you made earlier, 15 of 60 for three-pointers for the Celtics last night. Jason Tatum, 4 of 15. Derek White, 5 of 16. Jaylen Brown, 1 of 10. Meanwhile, the Knicks had multiple players who had good games. Who had a good game for the Celtics last night? Who played well? I'd say this. At the end of the first half, Luke Cornett and Peyton Pritchard thrown into duty for more minutes than I'm sure they were expected to play, at least Luke Cornett. They played well at the end of the first half. Who else do you say had a good game for the Celtics last night?
There was no one that had a good game beginning to end because Tatum kind of faded in the second half and Jaylen Brown couldn't shoot from the outside worth anything. Derek White on both ends of the floor. If you're gonna force me to pick somebody, Derek White on both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
There was that chase down block. I mean, he hit a couple of big threes, but also he was guilty too. He took a contested three from the corner during crunch time that he didn't have to take.
Yep.
I mean, everyone was at fault last night at separate points of the game. The Celtics had a chance to win it at the end. We were talking about the timeout at the end with 0.6 seconds left. Tatum couldn't get a shot off. And at the end of overtime, Jaylen Brown couldn't get a shot off. Had the ball taken from him by Bridges off the inbounds.
Right.
With more than that left. He had a couple of seconds to catch and fire. So there are a lot of problems that happened last night, a lot of people that are to blame. But as Fred said, that doesn't mean they're going to lose the series. Last night was very surprising, but top to bottom, the Celtics are still the better team and should win the thing.
Yeah. I would just, when it went to overtime, you got to win that game in overtime. You got a gift. And then you couldn't take advantage of it. But, yeah, nothing the Knicks did last night makes me think that this is something that they can keep up.
I don't think they're going to have standout performance nights from, 2 or 3 players again. Between Brunson and Anunoby and Karl Anthony Towns, they all played well last night. And you're going to need that, and you're going to need 4 or 5 Celtics to have off nights. I don't think those two things are going to happen in conjunction, let's say, 3 more times in this series.
All you got to do
that's what it would take for the Knicks to win the series.
All you got to do is get Towns in foul trouble and then put Robinson in and just foul Robinson every time he gets the ball.
Do you feel bad for him at all?
I do.
I mean,
I do feel bad.
Did you feel bad? I don't know who was it who went to him and whispered in his ear
Brunson.
after one of those. Brunson told him, said, foul the inbounding pass and this next thing. And we're watching the game. Hart said, Why did he tell him to foul? He said, to get him out of the game so they could sub.
Yeah,
they got to get him out of there. They're going to keep doing it.
You had guys in the middle of the court. I think it was Drew Holiday who was grabbing him and then jumping up and down to draw attention to himself. Hey, I got this guy. I've wrapped him up. Make the call.
He's got that weird line drive free throw. He's got that Shaquille O'Neal, Ben Wallace.
Shaquille O'Neal is the first person I thought of.
Yeah,
yes.
that Ben Wallace, just line drive,
He's
no
too tall.
arc.
Hands are too big.
Hands are too big, and he's too tall. He's not used to shooting with an arc.
Yeah, it's weird. And then he was starting to get loose in the paint and start taking mid-range jumpers. You're like, no, don't do that either.
I know.
You can't shoot, dude.
Yep.
All right. Look, we'll be back and
more NBA from last night.
Yeah, if you missed the other NBA from last night, we have that for you as well. We'll be right back.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Knicks pulled the upset in Game 1 of their second-round playoff series with the Celtics. They came back from 20 points down in the second half and beat the Green 108-105 in overtime. Game 2 of this best-of-7 is tomorrow night. Kristaps Porzingis and Sam Hauser both left last night. Neither returned. The late game last night had Denver rallying to beat Oklahoma City 121-119 in that Game 1. Bruins fell from 5 to 7 in the NHL's draft lottery last night. The New York Islanders earned the top overall pick. Red Sox open up a 3-game series with Texas at Fenway Park tonight. And the fans have elected Julian Edelman to the Patriots Hall of Fame. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Awaken 180. Give yourself a goal of losing 40 pounds by the 4th. It's doable, it's easy, and your summer self will thank you. Awaken180weightloss.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
More touch your... is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, the Sports Hub. You said you wanted to hear more music in the morning.
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
No, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and we can take a phone call here because Paul wishes to speak of the Celtics. Hello, Paul.
At least I feel a little better that they admitted they know what they did now after the game, but why do they get a rebound, the guy seemingly is open at the hoop, and they kick it out for a three? Why do they keep doing that?
That's the way Missoula has drilled it into them. That's what they've done all season. I get frustrated, too. There were at least 2 or 3 times where Luke Cornett had the ball alone underneath the basket and passed to a corner. I agree with you.
I mean, it's like they didn't get enough shots, 3-point shots against Orlando. Now they're trying to make up for it against the Knicks.
Yeah. Look, it was a very bad game in a game that they still could have won. And, what are you going to do? They're winning the series. They admitted that they did too much. They could have taken advantage of things, especially up 20. You don't need to be chucking up 3-pointers when you're up 20. That's certainly the case, and they're not. I don't think they're going to change their strategy necessarily, but
Missoula is firmly. I mean, if we know one thing about Missoula, he likes his offense, and Missoula was going to die on that hill after the game. Missoula said, we have to take advantage of open shots, and he didn't say we should have taken the ball more to the basket. He is married to this philosophy, always has been.
Okay.
They can't. They either can't or won't adjust, though, and I think they're going to win this series too, Fred. But
they will.
I think it's okay to sit here today and say, all right, Porzingis is out. Does that change your game plan? No. Okay. You're not making any 3-pointers. Does that change your game plan? No. Okay. You had a 20-point lead that's now gone, and you trail by 6. Will you change your game plan now? No. Well, what do you talk about then? Well, the plays are going on and during the timeouts. Is there any thought given to how we might switch things up in order to win a game at home to start a conference semifinal? That bothers me. I still think they win the series, but if Porzingis is out for an extended amount of time, or if this mystery illness continues and they don't change their strategy, then no, they won't win the series.
Yeah, they'll win the series. But if they play a superior team and they can't adjust, then I guess you could get worried. But it seems like we've had this conversation a lot, over the years and last year as well, and it ended up working out for them.
It's worked. Missoula had him within one game of the NBA Finals his first year. He won the whole thing last year.
You can't be stubborn against good teams. Cleveland did it to you in the regular season, and the Knicks did it to you last night.
Well, that's the thing is that, I don't know how good a team the Knicks are, but against good teams, this could be an issue.
It's weird. The last week or so has been very strange if you're a top 2 seed in the NBA playoffs. I mean, Houston didn't even make it out of the first round. They were the 2 seed in the West, and both Oklahoma City and Cleveland have struggled as well.
Oh. Yeah, and then that gets us to the Nuggets Thunder.
That's right, because, Oklahoma City had their own big lead last night. 17 they were up.
Jokic guarded by Hartenstein. 10 on the shot clock. Joker
Hartenstein! Hartenstein!
Is there anything else or just the name?
No, I got nothing else.
Okay.
Too
Joker
offensive.
for 3. Yes! Denver's made it a 1-point game, 115 to 114.
Uh-oh. All right. Well, was this one going to go to overtime?
The second free throw, Holmgren. Missed it again. Rebound down to Christian Brown. You got to hurry. 7 seconds. Front court over to Westbrook. Left side, Gordon for the win. Yeah! 2.8 seconds left coming back the other way. Williams from half court. Baked it no good at the horn. And the Denver Nuggets shock the Oklahoma City Thunder in game number 1. Final tonight, 121 to 119.
Okay. Chet Holmgren at the line, up 1 with a dozen seconds left, missed both shots. Yep. And that's what set up the Aaron Gordon game winner.
Yeah.
So far, all the top-seeded teams have lost in their conference semifinal game ones. There's one more tonight between a 6 and a 7 seed. So if that's an upset, it's not much of an upset, as the Timberwolves and Warriors will play their game 1 tonight. But Thunder falling, Cavaliers falling to the Pacers, and the Celtics falling to the Knicks.
Yeah, if you're Cleveland, you got to have a big sigh of relief, because it looked like Cleveland was going to be the odd man out, and now everyone's doing it.
Well, also, Cleveland has more injury problems, too. They had Darius Garland, who missed game 1. Evan Mobley, the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year, has an ankle problem. He may not play. And DeAndre Hunter, who is great off the bench for them down the stretch after they traded for him, and was really good when they got him from Atlanta. He's got a problem, too. He may not play. So Cleveland's already down 1-0. They have injury problems.
And great. Maybe it could be in Indiana Celtics again for a real exciting Eastern Conference final. What fun that was. We have the Globe put out an article about Joe. There's a few articles that have come out. One is about Joe Mazzulla, and if we need to, there's a couple other ones we can get into. But this Joe Mazzulla one isn't funny in so much of that it's weird, because it's not weird. It's just he went on this hell trip with a chess master who Hardy intimately knows. But the hell trip doesn't sound all that hellish. We can explain in just a moment.
Your home for Boston Celtics basketball. WBZ FM and HD1 Boston 98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The New York Knicks closed on a 45-25 run to force overtime and then beat the Celtics 108-105 at TD Garden in Game 1 of that best-of-7 second-round playoff series. OG Anunoby and Jalen Brunson scored 29 points apiece for the winners, and they beat the Celtics for the first time this season in 5 tries. Jaylen Brown was 1 of 10 from 3 in this game, and his squad seemed to settle for the long-range shots after halftime.
Some of them felt good. Some of them felt like we maybe forced the issue. And definitely our rhythm and our timing was a little bit off. We got a lot of great looks, but it may be some truth to that. We got to look at the film and see kind of what happened in that second half.
The Green missed an NBA playoff record 45 threes in this game. Game 2 is tomorrow night at the Garden, and the Celtics have some health concerns, too. Kristaps Porzingis played 13 minutes of the first half, left with an illness and did not return. Sam Hauser sprained an ankle in the third quarter, didn't come back, and left TD Garden in a walking boot. The late game last night had Denver coming back from 11 points down in the fourth quarter and beating Oklahoma City on the road 121-119. That was game 1 of a best-of-7. Cleveland's down 1-0 on Indiana, and the Cavaliers' Kenny Atkinson yesterday was voted the NBA's Coach of the Year. The Bruins fell from 5-7 in the NHL draft lottery last night. The New York Islanders won the top overall pick. Lucas Giolito will start tonight as the Red Sox open up a 3-game series with Texas at Fenway Park. And Julian Edelman elected to the Patriots Hall of Fame yesterday. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. 24-hour on-call service for your clog drain emergencies. Go to johnsewer.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Boston plays here.
Pritchard, half court. It's in the air. He got it. He did it again.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Half toucher.
Dressed like a gorilla.
Half Hardy.
A big, beautiful ball of flame.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider. Sports Hub on YouTube and get videos from all the shows and Ty Anderson and Alex Barth and all those guys. An article has come out in the Boston Globe about someone who works for the Celtics now. And this is no mystery to our own Rob Hardy Poole because, Hardy, you broke bread one time with Joe Mazzulla when he first started, and you bonded over whom?
He was talking about spending some time with his friend prior to the season, and he said, "Yeah, this guy's one of my best friends, Josh, and he's really into like game theory and strategy, and he learned it all as a chess champion." And I said, "It sounds like you're talking about Josh Waitskin," and he said, "That's exactly who I'm talking about." And Josh Waitskin is the person who's portrayed in the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer, who was a junior chess champion, became a jiu-jitsu master.
Well, that's not exactly true.
It's true, and there's a lot more.
Okay, but he's not so much a jiu-jitsu master as he is something else. All right, so
that too.
Okay, so he's not a jiu-jitsu master.
I know what you're about to do.
All right, so I take you.
You go ahead and do it.
New York City. Art came out. Rucker Park. Guys playing. Legends being made. This fella that Hardy knows so well starts walking around Washington Square Park. Says, chess. Big dork.
No.
Starts running around playing chess like a dork.
No.
While all this cool stuff's going on, he's like, I'll just play chess like a big nerd.
No. It's a fascinating story. And this is something for somebody who has tried to probe the inner recesses of the mind to figure out your own mess that's going on in there, Fred. This should appeal to you and to your
It should, because it absolutely does, because chess would solve everything. So
he was as like a young kid walking around the park, and his mother would walk him past these guys playing, speed games for drug money, essentially. And the next day he says, "Can we go back to the park where those guys are playing that game?" And she's like, "Why?" He goes, "I want to play." She's like, "You don't know how to play." He said, "Yeah, I do." And just from like witnessing it, just from watching it, he had like not just an understanding of the game, but he saw through to the game to its barest essence, Fred, right? He got inside. As Sir Ben Kingsley said in the film, he got to the soul of chess, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
Congratulations.
he just understood it almost like on a molecular level.
Right. And what a cool thing.
Dare I say, divine?
Yeah.
Yeah. And listen.
Hey, Lawrence Fishburne's sitting there waiting for a game.
If divinity is going to hit you, why not play with the crazy homeless people in Washington Square Park for drug money?
He's wearing the fingerless gloves. He brings his rook out too early, but that's for another day.
Look,
6 years old, and all of a sudden he was like, I want to play that. You don't know how. Yeah, I do. Watch this.
Yeah. I mean, some guys, they jerk it to anime, and some guys go to Washington Square Park to go play chess. So anyway,
you're disgusting.
So this guy,
you disgust me.
So he goes to Washington Square Park, and then they do search. Is he Bobby Fischer? No. So they didn't find. Not to spoil the ending, they didn't find Bobby Fischer.
They pretty much did. He was 11 years old when he played Garry Kasparov to a draw, who was, I believe, the world champion.
Well,
at the time.
Is he living the life of Bobby Fischer? When Bobby Fischer was his age, Bobby Fischer was doing way cooler stuff.
Yeah, he was probably first venturing down his anti-Semitic beliefs, which Josh Waitzkin never did.
Oh, whoops. Whoops.
Can he get back in this country?
Well, Fisher's dead.
He's dead.
Well, he's been dead a long
dead?
time.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry.
Hardy and I both read the same book about Bobby Fischer. Not a good life.
Okay.
Not a good life. All right. Well, so Joe Mazzulla is like really good friends with this guy. But so after high school, how do you pronounce Waitzkin?
Waitzkin, yeah.
So he goes through Eastern Europe. Cool. Self-exploration. He does this. And then he gets into Tai Chi, which can be an effective form of meditation, and it's been shown to have like actually longevity benefits. Like Tai Chi, I don't do it. I probably should. If you have an older parent, I would suggest you get them into it. It improves balance and mental dexterity. It's a good exercise. But who knew that in the world of Tai Chi, it ain't all about standing in silence and in a meditative state through a controlled, refined movement. No. Sometimes you bring another fellow into the picture and you push hands. So Waitzkin, he goes, this Tai Chi ain't enough for me. He goes, I need to get into something else. So there's a form of Tai Chi where there's another guy in front of you and they push your hands around.
Do you want to know why, Fred? Because Josh writes in his book, The Art of Learning, that growth comes at the point of resistance, right?
Well, we'll get into that. Please don't go too far down that rabbit hole because we'll get to Mazzulla's trip. And it's not about it being weird. It's about it being silly. So Waitzkin,
the resistance of the hands pushing back on you is the moment in your life when you grow.
So from the article, Waitzkin won several national championships in 2004, captured a push hands world title. So at least there was 8 guys in this thing.
I will say this about push hands. It does have the feel of like, wasn't it Gina Davis or somebody who had decided, you know what, I'm going to go into the Olympics as an archer. Or as, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get a medal in 20-meter air rifle. How many people can be doing it?
Well,
you're
it's
in luck.
equestrian.
We haven't even had 4 people sign up around the world, much less from this country. You're in luck. You want to be on the 20-meter air rifle team? Mm-hmm. You're in.
Money.
Well, it's like when Springsteen's daughter was in the Olympics for equestrian, and they're like, "Wow, how about that? Yeah, how about that?
Yeah,
like how many people?
She's the only one who had a horse.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
she made the team.
Yeah, her dad's super rich and got her like a great horse.
I can ride through the forest with the best of them.
Now, listen, would I want to do equestrian? I give them credit for jumping over that stuff, but I mean, let's be honest, it's not like something that everyone has access to. So anyway, it says in the article here in the Globe, it's extremely hard to be among the best in the world at one thing, but it's almost unfathomable to be among the best at 2.
True.
So chess, a lot of people play and have been for a long time. Somewhat impressive. Push hands, Now you're talking about maybe one of the top people who ever lived. He's like Galileo. So anyway, he writes this dumb book, and everyone loves it.
It's not a dumb book. It's a good book. You'd like it.
I'm sure I would, actually. And so Wade's just I like it's funny. Like, he was the best at two things. One of them, push hands. And so
try and push my hand right now. I dare you.
No, I'm not. I'm not falling into that trip. You know the two men that are involved in this
That's
article.
a good point. Hardy might have picked up some stuff.
Exactly. I don't need him pushing my hand too hard. Yeah. So Missoula, in all seriousness, they read this. Someone else actually from the Celtics reads this book, and they bring him in, and Missoula becomes very interested.
Well, Missoula buys copies for everybody.
I thought in the article it says that someone else from the team bought copies from everyone.
Oh, okay, all right, whatever.
And that he was impressed by Missoula when he gave the presentation to the team.
Yes. Okay.
For someone who had lunch with him, woof. Maybe you should take a reading comprehension.
Well,
class.
he was very generous at that dinner, so I thought made the connection that Missoula was the one who bought copies of the book for everybody, but apparently it was someone
maybe
else.
He's retelling the story, but it's not even his fault that he's lying because our memories sometimes do that. We don't have perfect memories. So anyway, Missoula and Wadeskin they developed this friendship, and Wadeskin's in demand. He's hired by the Celtics, and the Celtics lose to the Heat in the playoffs. So Wadeskin goes, I never do this, but I want you to come down to Costa Rica. And so Missoula says, okay, let's go down there. And he takes his family, his stepson, his son, and his wife. They go with Wadeskin's wife. They stay in this luxury treehouse, but not Missoula. Missoula goes, and he's going to do some stuff to toughen him up. Wadeskin does. And so you go, all right, well, this is interesting. What are they going to do? He's got to break them down to build them back up, he says the heartbreak and brokenness are what lead to strength. How do you train for that? You hunt for pain, you hunt for adversity. That all makes sense. Without failure, one cannot have success. With every recovering from failure is how you reach success. We're all going to fail. These are all good things. Now, how do you train to do this? Well, you do this. You go to Costa Rica, and you're handed a surfboard and a surfing instructor and say, go surf.
Yeah, go figure it out.
Then you go into the woods.
Jungle,
and you go on a 3-mile hike. No shoes.
Barefoot.
There's crocodiles in nearby waterways. So it's a lot like Hilton Head.
Snakes, spiders.
You wouldn't, just in Hilton Head or the Florida, just start walking around barefoot.
It's like Weeki-Wachi.
And then, to top it all off, so you go, how am I going to handle adversity? How am I going to put myself in these situations? How am I going to stare death in the face? Mm-hmm. Well, you get in a sauna and then you get in a cold tub.
Okay. What you're looking past is that we do a lot.
At its core, the physical torment of going from sauna to cold plunge exposes your mental cracks. So every time you're at Lifetime Fitness and you go from that sauna, as I do, into that cold plunge, I often think to myself, I am learning a lot about myself.
No, you're not, because you're doing that for the glory. You're doing that for the glory of the onlookers who see you go into that cold tub.
You're not in the right mental state of
now,
mind.
Now, in fairness, it is there are saunas with 230 degrees. I believe the ones that I go into are 180. So there's a 50-degree difference. So I will give them that.
What, the cold plunge? What's the cold plunge for you?
There's, say, 40. Mine's 45. So that's not so much of a difference. The cold
Greater
plunge,
extremes.
45 might as well be hot yoga. What's the big deal about that?
Oh, I'd like to see you get in one, tough guy. But it is funny how we look in this guy.
Put some bubbles in there too.
In all seriousness, this
child.
I'm making fun of Wadeskin to bust Hardy's balls. In all seriousness, he's probably like a brilliant guy. But the trip to Costa Rica, I thought when I read the article was going to be like this badass, crazy ass stuff, like where they were doing like all this like nutty stuff. But like learning to surf is like something you could do on vacation. A 3-mile hike in the jungle doesn't seem ridiculous. And this whole cold plunge sauna thing, even though I do it, let's start taking a walk back from that.
A lot of it sounds like something you would do, say, if you were spending 30 days in Malibu. Or
we discussed this off
Minnesota.
air. We discussed this off air. A lot. Well, I don't know anything about either of these guys' histories, but a lot of this stuff does sound like what Hardy's saying is that if you went to, I don't know, a 30-day resort in Malibu, or like Hardy said, perhaps an ex-president's wife's facility in Minnesota, some things that you would be doing
they're
here.
all getting to the core thing. They're like breaking you down, building you back up. And some of the stuff that I read in the book, I thought this is a little nutty. And then I recognized myself in a lot of the things.
book. I'm sure is valuable. Again, I'm busting balls in making it. I'm being flippant about the whole thing
because you want to talk about push hands.
Well, the way that it's written is funny to me. Is that it's like almost impossible to become the best at two things.
Yeah,
well,
Brady. Brady was a
world.
great quarterback. He tried to be a broadcaster, and he stinks at it. Those are two things that you think he'd be able to do. Josh Waitskin, he's playing chess at 6 years old. No one taught him. He's drawing against world champions at age 11. And he says, you know what? Now I'm going to go push some hands and see how good I am at that. Turns out he's the best in the world.
See, chess, yes. Push hands, no. You don't get both. You get chess. I'm impressed by your ability at chess in all seriousness, even though I don't know why in New York in 83 the chess would be the thing that appeals to you. There was so much going on that was way cooler, but I guess
was
he's 8.
6.
Well, so was Harley Flanagan, and he played for the Stimulators when he was like 8. So, I mean, it could be done.
And has he done anything with push hands?
No,
Harley?
but strangely enough, he's part of that Gracie dumb rolling around gym that everyone's into because of Rogan. And like a lot of those Vedic guys, a lot of those Hare Krishnas got very into the I don't even remember what it's called. When you wrestle around and you like Joe Rogan, what's it called?
Grappling?
Judo.
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu, sorry.
Yeah. Like when they did the thing with the kid from Superbad, the heavy kid from Jonah Hill. And they did a thing for GQ. They said the things you can't live without, and one of them was his gi.
Oh, that's right.
He couldn't live without his gi.
That's right.
It's in the gi and jiu-jitsu. I do think it's funny, the sauna to cold tub thing, because just do it in your own life. It's not horribly difficult, and I do believe that there's a lot of growth we can continue to do as we're humans.
Not unless there's resistance.
Yeah, and I think there's ways to get resistance that are this whole notion. Saunas are nice and the cold plunge is nice. It's not so much. It's not this exercise in like craziness. Let me, like the guy from H2O, Toby Morris. He sold his car to buy a cold plunge. Don't do that. My advice is don't do that. The cold plunge isn't so great.
Yeah.
Everyone who tells you that they're doing, get in the shower and turn it to be real cold. It's the same thing. You're uncomfortable. And then after a while, it's not as uncomfortable anymore. You could always meditate. That's another thing that you could do. There's a lot of ways without buying a $2,000 cold tub that you could sit there and, try to get inside of your true self. You could become present. I don't know why the cold tub is so effing important to people. In Finland, they're drinking Jaeger in saunas. It's not really that big a deal. But anyway, Missoula's an interesting guy. It does sound like a lot of this stuff.
And now they've met some resistance after game 1 last night, and from that they will grow. No problem.
Well, it was interesting. He said that the worst game of that season was not losing to the worst part of the season was not losing to Miami. It was I guess they had some huge lead against Brooklyn in February and blew it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a 25-point lead and blew it, or a 30-point lead or something and blew it. So, but he was devastated. I mean, as you would be if losing, that's your job. It's very difficult, but that's the beauty of sport. Is you have to grow from failure, because most of the time you will fail ultimately. There's no question. Only one team can win. And there's great, great players who've gone through entire careers without winning. And winning in college, winning in pros, the championship is very elusive. So I suppose a sauna and cold plunge is the only way to get through that. All right. Well, that article is available at the bostonglobe.com. The draft lottery was last night for the NHL, and guess what? It couldn't have gone worse for the Bruins. And here we are. So we'll give it its due, one break's worth of due. Jim McBride might be calling from the cold plunge if he wants to really get in the right headspace. He's part of the 5 a.m. club. He will talk to us about how this happened, what happened exactly in this lottery, and what the Bruins are to do now, how they could maybe trade up, a lot of things. And we will figure it out in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub. 7.
Jaylen Brown, overdue, hits a three.
Celtics playoff basketball, presented by Charles D. Sheehy. Boston versus New York. Long-standing rivalry. This is where the Celtics go for Banner 19. 98.5, the Sports Hub. What's the best way to listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Well, I mean, we're still picking the up.
Does cover the Bruins in the draft lottery, which I didn't. When was it on? 4 in the afternoon. I mean,
7 o'clock. ESPN, I think, actually had it.
Okay, because I was 7 o'clock. I'm busy navigating the streets.
I understand.
And I also was listening to the Celtics.
Celtics tipped off at precisely the same time.
7:05.
Yes.
All right. But Jim McBride, of course, has been covering all of this as he does write about the Bruins. Jim McBride, hello, sir.
Good morning, guys. How's everyone on this great Tuesday morning?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Glorious.
Thank you. It is
Ducky.
glorious. It is glorious. All right. So the worst, I guess, that could have happened last night for the Bruins. So what's the deal? The Islanders had the least chance to get to number one, and they ended up with the number one pick.
Yeah, they had a 3.5% chance to jump up and grab the number one pick, and they did. So it was, it was a disappointing night for the Bruins. But I don't know if you guys watched the broadcast at all, but that was the real disappointing thing because that was one of the hokiest presentations I think you could ever imagine.
Well, I've seen the NHL do everything, so I am aware of.
Have you watched any of their award shows for 5 minutes?
I can't imagine anything that it fell short of being lackluster and
the NHL
what wasn't lackluster.
Jim, do you remember when they did the first All-Star draft? And they did it in Ottawa at a television studio, and there was like 5 drunk guys was the audience.
That was when Phil Kessel was last. I remember that.
Yeah. And it was like they did it in a TV studio, like this local TV studio in Ottawa, and they were like, let's let in fans. And they had, in all seriousness, what do you think, 40 guys? And there were like 5 drunks just like, like during
their
the whole
award
thing.
shows, they brought up a real housewife of Beverly Hills to pronounce Martin St. Louis' name wrong. I mean, it's just the whole thing is.
They have a long history of doing JV versions of real sport events. I love the NHL, but they're
as do I.
Yeah, but when they try these presentations, certainly at first, they are not of the greatest things that have ever happened. But go ahead.
After the third ping pong ball was drawn, there was only a couple of teams left that had a chance when the fourth one came out. And we knew by ball which team was which, and we knew 13 was the Islanders, and they came up. And they waited a minute and a half after drawing the ball, and John Buccigross said, and the number one pick goes to, and we get dead silence. And everyone watching said, it's the Islanders. It's ball 13. But they went and they checked the paper, and I don't know if it was somebody from Ernst & Young doing a last-second calculations, but, it was it was like a Saturday Night Live skit.
Jim, before we get to the Bruins and what they may or may not do, I'm curious about your take on a conspiracy theory that was going around last night. Earlier yesterday afternoon, the NHL took away, or seemingly is going to take away, the NHL All-Star Game, which was supposed to be hosted by the New York Islanders. They took away that game and revenue from them as a result of it. And magically, hours later, the Islanders win the draft lottery, jumping up 10 spots. Are those two things connected, in your opinion?
Yeah, that was a theory floated by several of us there last night at Warrior. I think it was just in jest. I think it's more of a coincidence. They did have reporters on site, including one of our Globe guys there to make sure everything was on the up and up. So it's a fun conspiracy theory, but at the bottom line, I think it just ended up being a coincidence because, that would be shocking if they did something like that.
Well, you would give it to the Islanders too. It's just like Ewing going to the Knicks. I mean, it's you got a huge name player going to a massive historical franchise, so I could understand why they would rig it.
Yeah, except there's not really a huge name this year. There's no like consensus.
No, I'm being sarcastic. And Jim, as someone who works for the lamestream media, I'm sure that we're not going to get a straight answer from you about the conspiracies that are all over the world. But seriously, they go. Everyone's got to have a conspiracy. Everything's a conspiracy because everyone's so much smarter than they're all gaining the system. Everyone knows so much more about what's going on than what's being told to you. All right, so Jim. Here we go. They got the 7th pick in the draft, and how significant is that? Like not having a top 5 pick, in your opinion, how significant is that?
Not very this year, especially considering there's kind of there's really, as I mentioned, there's no consensus. Number one, there's a bunch of guys, and I think that the Bruins will probably be looking at a center at that position, although they wouldn't commit to what they were looking at. And there's a bunch of guys that are all about the same speed, for lack of a better word, that I think, that could end up being good NHL players. I'm not sure any of them will be impactful next year, but I'm sure most of them will impact the NHL at some point. So in the grand scheme of things, dropping from 5 to 7, it might hurt your collateral a little if you were looking to deal, but I think the Bruins are probably looking to stay put. So, disappointing in the, immediacy of it, but, in the grand scheme, I don't think it makes a huge difference.
All right. Well, I guess that's good news. Now you mentioned moving up and, they are in a situation where they have, some picks to deal and things of that nature. What's more likely, in your opinion? I know they might not move up in the first round, but them, making moves inside of the draft to move up or move down, or trading picks for players.
I think the probably thing they'll look at first is trading picks for players. I think where they have established that they want to retool and not rebuild, they're probably looking to get some NHL ready guys to add to the core of Pasta and McAvoy and the Lindholms and Swayman. So if they want a quick turnaround, it's probably flipping these picks for an established player who's probably has some term left on his deal. There's not a ton of guys out there that probably want to move. I think the sexy name is Brady Tkachuk. Everybody, talks about him eventually landing in Boston, but he kind of made it clear after the Senators' short playoff run that he's dedicated to Ottawa, and things change obviously like they did with his brother. But barring a player of that caliber, you're probably going to end up picking in this draft at this point because you're not going to spend a ton of capital on a guy that. On a lower tier NHL player. You want a guy that's going to come in and be maybe even a captain ready guy like a Tkachuk, similar to when they grabbed Chara in free agency. You want a guy that's going to come in and help you, reestablish the culture that's been in this franchise for, the last 10 to 15 years with Chara and Bergeron and Marchand.
All right, go ahead.
Just how big of an issue is that right now? Because we talked to you about this earlier in the season too. Maybe it's around the time that they dealt Marchand, like the culture in the room right now. And you're going to have, presumably another coaching change here. You're lacking veterans right now. How big of an issue do you think that's going to be going forward? A couple of guys left between McAvoy and Pastrnak, but not exactly the ones at the top of your list when you're talking about leadership, culture, building a team going forward.
Yeah, I think they definitely, I thought Pasta did a great job at the end of last season, kind of stepping up and being the de facto captain of that team. He played really well. He said everything right in the locker room, and guys pointed to him as kind of the beacon after Marchand was traded. I don't think he can do it all himself. And, the fact that Marshy was traded, Hampus Lindholm wasn't there, Charlie McAvoy wasn't there. That was a huge piece of the leadership core that left. So they need to replace that. And I don't think you can ask a younger guy, even if it's a guy from Providence that has played a couple of seasons of professional hockey, to kind of fill that void. You need a player that's established in this league to help build that, or rebuild that chemistry. They might have a few on the roster now. Maybe Morgan Geekie steps up this year and becomes more of a vocal leader. He's admitted that he's kind of a silent leader. But yeah, there's some leadership needs in that room.
Jesus, I'm looking at these guys. They're all 17.
Yeah.
My son's a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
These guys are born a year. They're a year older.
But the thing about this draft, apparently, I don't know, Jim, am I wrong? Next year, there's a definitive number one. There's a kid that's a sure shot better than everyone else. But this year, it's a bad time to have a top 10 pick.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I think there is, there's several players that kind of stand out when you watch the tape, and it's so different from like preparing for the NFL draft where you can find highlights and analysis of every kid from every school out there. Where the draft pool comes from so many different spots, Canada, America, Europe. There's sometimes it's hard to find. So there isn't that clear cut as you mentioned, John. But there are a couple of guys, like I think Anton Frundell, the center from Sweden, kind of fits the mold of maybe a player that can come in and be an impact guy right away because he's got kind of an NHL body now. He's 6 feet, he's 200 pounds already. But yeah, I think they're few and far between for immediate impact in this draft.
All right. Well, look, Jim McBride, we look forward to free agency and the draft. I guess maybe you get a little time to breathe now, but we appreciate it.
Hit the cold plunge.
Yeah. Well, listen, don't just jump in. Be ready to take on it mentally. You're going to discover some things about yourself in that cold water.
It's at the point of resistance where the growth really happens, Jim.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
There you go, the great Jim McBride. And maybe he's going to come back a little greater after he's touched that cold water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jake O'Brien, Brantford, OHL.
Yeah.
Is slated. He's a center going to the Bruins. He is 17 years old. He is 17 years old.
Apparently, that kid Misa, M-I-S-A, that was the guy you wanted if you were the Bruins, like the number 2 overall rated guy.
Well, Jake O'Brien was over a point a game.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're talking about. Misa's the guy. Yeah, Misa they have going number 2 to San Jose.
Mm-hmm. And
Misa.
Ty Anderson was talking about the kid from BC, who's a really good player, but he's only 5'10", 170, and the Bruins don't draft well with guys that are 5'10", 170 because they try and make them into different kinds of players.
Yeah.
Watch out for Carter Bear. He seems like a perfect Bruin player, left winger.
No, what is he, like slow and old? All right. Thank you, Jim. We appreciate it. There you go. All right. So they're all 17. Boy, there's a lot of pressure on those kids.
Yep.
So you got to be a fully formed player basically at 17? Jesus Christ.
I know. I mean, look, Chicago took that kid Bedard, number 1 overall. He was 18 when they took him.
Yeah, I know. It's just interesting to me that you would, you change so much from 17 to 22.
Yep.
I mean, my son is 16. He's not done growing. He's certainly not done getting wider, but he's still growing in height.
Mm-hmm.
And he can't grow a beard. How the hell would you know how good they're going to be?
And you're skating around with guys that are, 6'2", 225. It's not fun.
I wonder how hockey decided that 17 was the age that they were going to go, this is where we know. 17's when we know.
16, way too young. Yeah, we can't tell. 17, they're ready.
Because football and baseball, they give you some leeway. I mean, there's guys. I mean, look at Cam Ward. He was a 0-star recruit coming out of high school. When he was 17, he was a nobody. He transfers around, and now he's the number 1 pick of the draft. People are whole franchise worth billions of dollars depending on the guy. I mean, if you went by 17, he wouldn't have been anything. I mean, if you went by 17, Quinn Ewers would be the best player in the world. All right. Hockey's an interesting sport. I'm glad my kids didn't play hockey. Seems like an awful lot of pressure to put on a kid. 15, time's ticking. Let's go.
Yeah.
You are not a fully formed player yet. Let's go. What are we doing here? You want to play in college? I mean, 5th grade is not going your way. Let's go.
No, you're still in the midst of puberty, but man up.
Yeah, exactly. Take a look at the Little League World Series. It's all little heavy kids. Those are the ones that are dominating because they're strong as hell. I don't know if those necessarily develop into the best players, but who knows? All right, so we'll be back in just a moment. We have a big contest coming up. We've got two whole contestants. Steven Singer is going to join us as he is the one giving away the prizes. We will have that for you in just a moment.
Jim Murray, Chris Gasper.
The Sports Hub Celtics Show with Murray and Gasper. Saturdays at noon on the Sports Hub. Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Yeah, party people. Here we go.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, and everyone recalls this great moment in radio history.
White smoke from Rome, really? Do we know who it is? We have a pope, huh? I wonder what that means in terms of, tell me when you turn on the news channel, tell me what that means in terms of time. Doesn't even look white. Is that white? I guess it is. Is that their version of white smoke? I guess it is. Huh? It looks kind of dark to me, but I guess.
Yeah, Vatican, is that version of white? I mean, you go, they're 6 hours ahead of us. Is that what white looks like?
You got a pope? No pope? Is there a pope?
I mean, what's that? The version of white? I know there's a time change. What do they call it? Blanco?
I was going to say, what's Italian for white? I don't know.
I don't know. They got a different version, I guess.
White.
It looks dark to me.
Dark.
That's not New York white. I'll tell you that.
It's gray.
It's their version of white smoke. Yeah, there it is. Now it looks a lot whiter. There you go. Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm satisfied. Now that's white. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. We got the Pope. Because I'm the sports Pope, and now there's a real Pope. You see?
The bells are ringing. Now there will be an enormous there's enormous gathering already, but now the gathering will swell to millions. I mean, now it will swell to millions. Just lining that whole area.
They're going to be doing what, Mike? They're going to be
just lining that whole area.
Oh, they're going to be lining that whole area.
3-syllable word. Yeah. Lining.
Just lining that whole area. But now we have a pope. There we go. And away we go.
Yeah. But that's cut down from 3.5 minutes of him speculating about who the pope would be and everything else.
And the color of the smoke.
And the color of the smoke. He does 3.5 minutes there. But our own Cadillac guy has been with the company for a very long time. Very good programming guy. He has made the decision to go down to Vatican City. He left yesterday, and he is going down specifically for this. And he is going to join us, I believe, on Thursday.
Yes, Thursday morning he's going to check in from Vatican City.
So he's going to be in from he went specifically to see this. Did he go by himself?
Yeah, solo.
That's amazing.
He was polling the entire building last week, asking everybody if he should go.
Well, he's Catholic, right?
Yes.
So if you're, I mean,
how could you not? You got a press pass. I guess they give press passes out to these things.
Well, I mean, I could see how you would not. I mean, you would just not go to Vatican City. But if you are considering it and you're Catholic, I mean, how many times this has happened in your life? Like, this is like a worldwide thing. This is like a phenomenon. This is, a huge cultural moment. It's an undeniable cultural moment. There's no way it won't be. So if that's your religion and you're devout to it, I would assume that would be exactly where you'd want to be. Is it true that there are millions of people, or is Francesca speculating? Because millions of people sounds a little scary. That I'm in a crowd of millions of people. How am I getting back to my hotel? How did he book a hotel if millions of people are going to be there? I'm not even saying that there's not going to be millions. But, like, if you go to, there's an event, there's 100,000 people. Okay, that's like a Michigan football game. Mm-hmm. Millions. Now you're talking about, like
10 Michigan football games.
Well, that would be 1 million. Yeah. But 20 Michigan football games, I mean, just crowd control would be very difficult.
So when they have mass at Peters Square, they can put up to 80,000 people there for one mass.
Okay.
So you figure with all the media and everything there, it's 100,000 people standing around just waiting for smoke.
See, 100,000 seems like you could, 100,000 to be there for the moment and to soak up that ancient, that history. I believe I would imagine it's a very beautiful experience, but the millions, then that would scare me. What? I'm right. Cutting off Jesus Christ! You didn't even say anything. You just cut the sound into my ears.
I started to talk, and you were in the middle of a thought.
Yeah,
so
stop. Oh, Jesus! Well,
trying to be considerate, and you're being very disrespectful.
What? Wait, we got a pope? We got smoke?
Yeah, we got smoke on the hotline.
No, that's not white. It doesn't look white to me. That's not white. Steven Singer, our good friend from IHateStevenSinger.com. Mother's Day is coming up, and Steven Singer has been kind enough to give us the prizes. Steven Singer, hello, sir.
Good morning. First you got the Pope, now you got the dope. It's listen, this is a high-level show.
You have heroin you're holding at this moment.
That's it.
All
That's
right.
it. I'm blowing smoke right now.
All
Yes.
right.
No, it's great to be with you guys. I'm sorry I'm not there in person, but it's great to be with you guys. Great to hear you guys. Sorry about your loss last night. I bet Boston. I thought for sure they were going to crush them, but I'm sure they'll still come out on top.
Well, when you shoot 63s and make 15 of them, it's going to be a bit of an issue.
Then I would have doubled my bet in overtime, and I would have lost that too. So, but listen, it happens.
Well, right. It's a 7-game series. I don't think anyone's overly concerned. All right. So Mother's Day.
I picked Boston to win it all. Just by the way,
Okay.
The Sixers suck, but that's not here nor there. It's still Mother's Day.
Right.
It's still Mother's. By the way, Mother's Day is Sunday. I learned yesterday.
This Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought we had another week and a half, Stephen. No, it's this Sunday.
No, it's very early this year. It's very early. This is the 11th. This week, this is it.
All right, so we're doing a contest called Mother's Day Mistakes. We have people that are going to be coming into studio. They had kids by accident. They didn't want these kids necessarily, and now they're here. These are adult children. We're not having. We're not telling 8-year-olds that they were unwanted.
Right.
So what kind of prizes can these people expect? What can the public expect from IHateStevenSinger.com?
Well, we have 3 items. It's called the Moon Triple Play. We have a Blue Moon Rose, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's a light blue rose with little blue sparkles. Very limited edition, a customer pick. They designed this and we made it, and it's been fantastic. We have a necklace called I Love You to the Moon and Back. It's called the Moon and Back necklace. That has a little, it has diamonds paved, which is French for paved, which are set right into the metal. And then right on the back of it, it says, I love you to the moon and back. And we have these Moonlight Aqua studs, which are fantastic in 14-karat white gold. And I will give away any one or all of those combinations to the listener or listeners that win or participate in a contest that you guys so deem. You guys are in charge of the prize closet. You tell me what they get, and we'll give it to them.
Well, Steven Singer, I'll tell you what. If you are very generous, I like the nonchalantness of which you throw around the jewelry. I do appreciate that. Like when you were in studio, you just had this like a briefcase, like a guarded briefcase, just full of stuff. You were chugging around like no one's business, and people. This stuff sells out. Am I right or am I wrong, Steven Singer?
Well, we are absolutely going to sell out of all 3 of these items. Our estimated date is probably Wednesday, based on the current trend. Sometimes it'll take Thursday or Friday, but no matter how much you make, like the things that you're promoting and the things that are hot always seem to sell. And the Moonlight collection seems to be extremely hot. And I believe we will sell out of all of these. And, we're thankful for your listeners. We're thankful for all the great fans that are participating on your show, both online, on the YouTube channel and on the radio. And we think it's great. And we want to reward them. And we appreciate the business. And we'll take great care of them.
Stephen, did you have to get clearances from Mark Spitz's marketing team to use the phrase aqua stud? Because I believe that's what they called him.
We were going to make it, after me, we were going to make it aqua dud, but we didn't, we kept it stud, like that. It is what it is. But these are fantastic. Everybody that sells a similar product, and I'm not blowing smoke, no pun intended with the Pope, they sell these between $750 and $1,500. We have these. We sell them like wholesale to the public for $248. It's an unbelievably great deal, and they're absolutely gorgeous. This light blue, they really are. There's certain things like I like to like it too when we make something. But all 3 of these items are real winners for Mother's Day, and it's something that she has forever. It really is terrific.
And, of course, there's that lifetime guarantee that IHateStevenSinger.com always gives you. Steven, appreciate it. We got to get these people in studio. We appreciate the time,
I can't wait
sir.
to see them.
Oh, well, so neither can I. All right, so we look forward to it. All right, Steven, thank you so much for the
let
time.
me know what prizes we're giving out. Be generous. Don't be so cheap.
All right.
I'm not deducting it from your bill. It's we'll give the stuff out.
I'm looking at the Aqua Studs right now. These are really nice.
Okay, well, it's 8 o'clock. We got to go. Steven, thank you so much, sir. We will have the contestants in just a moment.
for two. Somebody tied it.
WBZFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics lost to the Knicks last night, 108-105 in overtime in Game 1 of their second-round playoff series. Celtics blew a 20-point third-quarter lead in this one. Jason Tatum, 23 points and 16 rebounds in a loss. Game 2 is tomorrow night. The Bruins fell from 5 to 7 in the NHL's draft lottery last night. The New York Islanders won the top overall pick. Red Sox open up a 3-game series with Texas at Fenway Park tonight. Lucas Giolito will start, and the fans yesterday elected Julian Edelman to the Patriots Hall of Fame. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 99 Restaurants. Celebrate Mother's Day at the Nines and treat mom to new delicious menu specials like their famous colossal or hot buttered lobster rolls. You gotta love the Nines. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com. Fred describes himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sport.
Ben by Michael Jackson. What a fun time. All right. Well, look. Knights in White Sand is number 32. Going all the way by the Raspberries, by the way, is number 33. Down by the Lazy River by the Osmonds. Up there as well.
Sure.
All right. Well, look. It is Mother's Day, and as we had IHateStevenSinger.com, Steven Singer on, he's got, I don't even know what he said. There's 1 million pieces of jewelry he's giving away. They're all for wholesale. They're available to buy right now. Mother's Day is Sunday. He predicts these will sell out by Wednesday. And so we thought, what better way to award a mother than who would be qualified more than a mother who had her kid maybe by accident? You know, you have a kid by accident, and then you raise that kid to be an adult, and you should be rewarded. The kid should be like, "Thank you so much."
Right.
I mean, I could have been. You made this horrible mistake in your life, and now look at me. I'm a functioning adult.
I will prove to you it was no mistake.
Yeah, I'm a functioning adult now.
Yeah.
And what we'll see to which level they're functioning, but
and that's how we're going to grade this. It's like, how good did the kid really turn out?
Yeah, you grade on your own scale. I'll grade on my scale. There's no rules.
I think we're going to do it on inconvenience, perseverance, and was it all worth it?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Those are the 3 categories.
Fair enough. All right. Let's bring in Allison.
Okay.
Allison is the mom. She is the one who gave in. Her daughter looks absolutely thrilled to be here.
No, you got. I believe this is Kristen we're bringing in first.
Okay, Kristen.
Okay. Kristen. Why have
so
them?
Kristen is the one that wanted to be on. Okay. So okay.
Why have
Kristen.
them in order on the sheet? We'll just do it.
Exactly.
We'll do it in a different.
There's only
order.
2.
We have a microphone.
So Kristen's mom, you're going to have to use that microphone. Okay, so Kristen, you applied to this.
Yes, I did.
So you're aware that you were not conceived on purpose.
Oh, yeah. She calls me a happy surprise.
Okay, a happy surprise in quotations. You're both doing quotations. You've done this act before.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so give me the scenario. Now, what's your mother's name? I don't have it here.
Roberta.
Okay, Roberta.
Oh, Roberta.
Hi.
Roberta, take us through how your life with your children. Take us through how many children do you have?
4.
Okay, and where does Kristen lie in this?
She was the last one.
Okay, so she was the last one. So you have your first child when you're how old?
28.
Okay, that's an age where many people have kids. You have your second child when you are.
So Robbie was a year and a half later.
Okay, so you're like 29.
Yeah, and then Andrew came 4 years after that.
Okay, and so now you're in your mid-30s.
Bit of a layoff between second and third, but now you're done.
And you say I have 3 kids. Like financially, we're set. Like let's not go crazy here. As a father of 2, we all have 2 kids. It's very expensive. You say, let's hunker down and we'll pay for this, and then and get these kids out of the house, and then what happens?
And
you are so sexually active. What happens at this point?
Well, apparently I just found out that Dad went to a club I didn't know that. So when he came home, he was.
Oh, you went to a strip club?
Yes.
Okay, so
And
Oh, God.
So when he came
is this
home,
fun for you, Kristen? So he
Oh,
went to a
man.
strip club.
Well, they're the ones that just told me that. I had no idea.
Your face is very red. If you're watching on YouTube, by the way,
See what
Kristen's face is
Yes.
legitimately
It
like
should-
birdish red.
It should be. It should be.
Okay, so he went. Would you know what strip club so they could get free advertising?
I have no idea. None
Okay.
whatsoever.
All right.
But it's really good advertised. Dad went to a strip club. He was so horned up when he got home.
Point.
He had to do the
Yes.
deed, and I guess be thankful that your father did not experience anything extra. in the VIP.
There you go.
Great minds,
Right.
because I was
See?
thinking the same thing. Is that oftentimes in strip clubs, not to my experience, but I've been told around the grapevine that money can be exchanged and these matters can be settled in house. So your father, so that your husband comes home and you
Yes.
didn't know that he goes. And what are you like? Asleep? You're asleep in bed or something?
It wasn't that late, so
Okay.
no, I wasn't asleep
And he
yet,
goes.
But yes,
But
yes.
you have 3 kids, so you're probably not that sexually active at that time. Am I right or am I
no,
wrong?
we still kind of were.
Oh, look at
Oh,
you.
yes. Yeah.
A
I'd
sassy
say yes.
mama. All right, so how old are you at the time?
I think you were 38.
Yeah, about that.
Okay, so you're 38. And so he comes home from the strip club.
Yes.
And
So we.
you make
yes.
love. You make love.
And
Do you
I
think
wasn't on the pill or anything because
Okay.
I figured, we'll be safe. I'm done. I don't have to do all that. And-
you were 38? You
right. So I
who
just
taught you
figured-
this? What Bible camp did you hear this at?
We were just really careful. We were just careful and.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but there was no protection, but you were careful.
I don't understand. I need more explanation. In what
But-
ways were you careful?
It's a hip game.
I know, yes.
The hip game was not strong
But
in this
usually
instance.
he was very careful. That night he was not.
Because he was so overwhelmed.
Right.
It was very fast, is what
Yes.
you're saying. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He was
So,
he was using you.
After a few drinks, you can't pull out of a driveway. So.
Oh, this has all been done before.
Saying.
All right,
That's
so
my daughter.
Kristen, how old? So your siblings are all way older than you, and at
Yes.
what point did you realize maybe something's off here? How old are you, by the way?
So I'm 24.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 24. I probably realized when I was like 10, because I was like, why am I'm sharing a room with my sister who's 20. So I'm like, there's something.
Boy.
Right. And the idea that you're sharing a room with a 20-year-old, you're like, why did you have this many kids?
Yes.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yes.
Like
20-year-old has to be thrilled about that arrangement,
Oh,
too.
she was pumped.
Oh yeah.
How much? You probably learned a lot young.
Oh, I
Kristen.
learned
Too much.
I learned
too much.
Right.
She hung around with her sister's friends, so she's 5, and they're all 15.
Oh,
and
boy.
she's watching movies with them that are scary, and like everything was like this was her daughter.
Kristen, what was the most inappropriate thing you witnessed? Say, as like a 5, 6, 7-year-old.
Let's not do that. Let's do more of this.
Well, no, I just want like what movie, what
Oh,
thing
okay.
did
What,
you-
well,
yeah.
if you're doing a popular culture thing, sure.
Okay, so movie, I think I watched The Ring when I was 6.
That's too young.
And that was we had to take the movie out of we had to take the TV. The tiny TV that we had, we took it out of our bedroom because I was terrified.
Okay, so
no TV in the room anymore.
And
I
Saw.
was scared someone was going to crawl out of it.
Okay.
So.
Saw.
Yeah.
And
Saw the movie Saw.
Yeah.
And as you are going through adolescence and things like that, are there's bad influences around? I would assume.
Yeah. They hid it for as long as they could.
Yes.
But I
Right.
got to the point where I would just come outside and they would all be outside doing things.
Right.
And I'd be like, what you guys
Smoking,
doing?
drinking.
Right,
That's
right,
a
right.
funny smell.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Okay, and so I'm sorry, Kristen. I'm sorry. What's your name again?
Roberta.
Roberta. Let me write that down. Roberta. So, how did you control having such a young daughter when you had the older kids as well?
It was kind of tough with Kristen because she was out of the kids, she was probably the easiest.
Yeah, because you ignored her.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, because you could.
And we were like friends. Like we would go
Sure.
everywhere because the kids were at school.
Right.
So she was mine. So
Right,
we
right.
would drive around and we would go places together and go to the mall. And as she got older, we would just we loved to look at houses. So we would drive around all the time looking at houses.
Right, because you can't afford them because you got the 4 kids.
I know, right?
Right.
So,
Okay.
But Courtney had great friends too. So they were
Okay.
They were really good around Kristen. They tried to control the way they talked around her and stuff. But if it did,
At least when you were around.
yeah, if it did get to the point, I would just pull her away from them.
You know what?
Say,
It makes
"Come on."
a nice upbringing for Kristen and for the both of you. But in terms of hardship, if you have siblings that are old enough to be babysitters, I think that counts against you in the hardship category. I don't know if this was all that difficult for Roberta.
But she says that unlike a lot of the youngest childs that are simply ignored, she became a running buddy of Roberta.
Oh yeah, we were like, we were always together, always like doing something, or even if we were home, we were doing stuff together. So,
Right.
because you think the other three are not there,
Right.
So all my attention is with her.
Okay, so Kristen, why does your mother, in your opinion, deserve to have this wonderful Mother's Day thanks to Steven Singer?
She was really good at just acclimating from how she would handle all of my siblings and then how she would handle me. Like she would let me kind of learn my own ways, like hang out with my siblings,
try
this and that.
drugs.
But she would
Yeah.
but she was really good at filtering out the good things, the bad things. She wasn't like a helicopter, but she was also very good at kind of teaching me the ways of life without being like breathing down my neck kind of
Okay.
thing. So I think that she learned from my other siblings as they got older that she kind of had to like back off and kind of be a mom but not be a helicopter. So
Okay.
I had a very good upbringing because she taught me everything I needed to know, but I also didn't have to, I wasn't heavily dependent on her.
Could we find out possibly the name of the strip club that made your husband
in
so
Framingham.
horny that we could get it engraved maybe on one of the
Framingham.
pieces of jewelry?
I wouldn't even know it.
Or we could
We're from Framingham, so
Does Steven Singer have a pendant where perhaps we could just put the neon sign from the strip club, or maybe the dancer's face in it?
Oh, there you go.
That would be right. Okay. Did he have a proclivity towards certain dancers?
I have no idea. Like
All
I
right.
said, I didn't even know we went to it. So
When did he tell you that he had gone to it?
they just did.
we just did this morning.
You just did this morning. You and your
Yes.
dad?
No, my sister and I. Apparently,
yeah.
my sister knew this whole time. I didn't know either.
Apparently,
So-
my sister told my daughter Courtney.
Yeah.
And then Courtney just told Kristen and me. So.
Yeah.
Well,
We had
how'd
no
your
clue.
sister find out?
Who? Well, her husband.
She was
worked
dancing
with,
there.
No, her husband. her husband worked with mine. So
Okay.
that's
all right. Well, look.
He was-
Listen,
he
we've
was
all
with
been
her.
to strip clubs. We all love strip clubs. All right. Well, look, Kristen and Roberta, it's a pleasure. If it was up to me, you're getting stuff no matter what. But let's break, and when we come back, we'll meet our other contestant, Allison, and then we will make our decision. Regardless of whatever, you will get a Mother's Day gift. You will get jewelry.
Thank you.
You will receive that from Steven Singer. All right, so let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
If your alarm clock sounds like this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy.
That's what she says. All right. Okay. Wow. Okay.
And I had a bit of a who's who moment.
I did
there
too.
For a second.
It's true.
I'm Allison.
All right, Allison,
Hi,
get us on the microphone. Allison, you're an attractive woman.
Thank you. Thank you.
How many kids do you got?
4.
Okay. All right. All right. You a married woman?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. I'm joking around. I'm joking around. All right. Okay. So who is with you today?
This is my oldest, Bella.
Okay. So Bella is your oldest, and now is it all the same father?
Okay.
Yep, all the same
Oh,
father.
well, look at this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look at this. All right.
It starts
So
to explain it, okay? Because if this was like the youngest, that was a mistake. I'm like, it can't be that much, but this is your oldest.
This is my oldest.
Which
Yep.
Explains why you two look like siblings.
True. Yep.
Okay.
yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. There's a lot going on here. All right. Okay. So now all 4 of your kids were mistakes.
No, all 3 of my girls
Were mistakes.
were accidents.
Right. Which is a kind way of saying
Yeah,
mistakes.
yeah, yeah.
Semantics.
All right.
Really.
Okay. Now. Okay. I'm sorry because I don't. Okay. Bella is the one that's here. Okay.
Bella's the one that's here.
Bella, when did you learn that you were unplanned?
I'm not sure. Probably like around
2. Okay, 6. So they kept it from you. Okay. When was Bella conceived and under what circumstances?
When I was a senior in high school.
Okay.
Yeah. So under
What town?
East Bridgewater.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
That
There's a
explains
young
it.
lady that went to college in that area that's doing quite well for herself now.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
got herself a 73-year-old boyfriend.
Yeah. Yep.
And giving her all kinds of money. All right, so I had to bring it up one time today. All right, so you're in high school, and you end up marrying the man who
did,
you
yep.
you had the child with.
Yep. And he's the one that told me to enter this contest. Yep.
He's an honorable man.
He is. He's a big time fan. Yep.
That's great.
Yeah,
And I
well,
was
he's a
just like-
smart man
Yeah.
too. All right, so you are in high school. How long had you been dating?
Honestly, off and on since we were like 13, 14 years old.
And you're still married.
Still married.
How old are you today?
I'm going to be 39 next week.
That's amazing.
And how old are you, Bella?
I'm 20.
Wow.
Now, Bella, did your mother have any authority over you? You look like you're like together. Do you look like you're you don't look like a mess. You look like you're an attractive young lady. What was it difficult for your mother to control you because you guys are the same age?
A little bit, yeah. It's kind of been like we've been sisters our whole lives.
Okay, and now has that worked as you look back on it to your advantage?
Sorta.
How much responsibility did you have over your siblings?
Not much.
Okay, so that was handled. So you were able to be a free range kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we talk about the night of conception for Bella? What day of the year did this fall on?
Halloween.
Okay. This was not in a bouncy house. He was not dressed as Darth Vader.
No.
Okay. All right.
Not.
Did it have anything to do with the costume that you were wearing?
No, it had more. No, he actually couldn't go out. So I went to his house.
Did you sneak in?
No.
Okay.
No. And that's the only reason why I know.
Were his parents home?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
can't remember that far back.
All
I
right.
don't believe
Well, it wasn't very long ago. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. All right. So he couldn't go out. He was in trouble.
Yeah.
House arrest?
Or no, I just think it was Halloween, and nothing good happens on Halloween when you're a senior in high school.
Okay. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but fine. And so he comes over, and this is obviously you had lost your virginity at this time.
Obviously so.
Okay, so
yeah.
so the first time you ever made
Yeah, the
love
very
to your
first time.
would-be husband.
Yep.
Now, was it hard, Bella, for her to tell you to stay away from boys when she was so promiscuous when she was in high school?
Yes.
Okay, so were there ever arguments between the two of you, or like, how dare you say this to me? You were a teen mother?
I've definitely brought it up a few times. Yes.
Okay, you have brought it up a few times. Now, how do you deal with that, Allison?
Oh, how do I deal with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one, but she's older than I was when I got pregnant, so I take that as a win, So every year old, every birthday is, so she's gonna be 21 in July, so yeah.
Were your guys' parents pissed?
My parents were my parents were really great.
Okay, great.
Really great.
So his weren't.
His were a little bit more disappointed, I guess you could say.
Now, do you get along with them now?
I do, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
for real?
I do.
Okay,
yeah.
but they're a bit of a pain in the ass.
Sometimes.
Okay,
yeah.
well, listen, I didn't like my in-laws at all. I mean, I got to tell you that.
All 4 of your kids, though, unplanned. So what's it like on the second, third, and fourth time you go to your husband to let him know that you're pregnant again and he's not expecting it?
So the second one was, my son was planned. That was after we got married when we were
Okay.
21. But my third was with I got pregnant with an IUD. So that's like an unusual thing to happen. So
Oh, well, that's great to know.
Yeah, so
that can happen.
Yeah, so you kind of feel like you're
Fantastic.
Finally, you're doing everything right, and then
You had it in right and everything. A reputable. It was from a reputable place.
I guess they said so.
Well, that's fantastic
So
news.
so that was obviously.
Well, now I got things to worry about. Go ahead.
If you tell me the fourth one was after your husband had a vasectomy, I'm going to kill myself.
No.
Yeah, don't worry. You're
No, it wasn't after that. But I got my tube side. He had a vasectomy. We were taking no chances.
Okay,
on
that was
5.
after the fourth one.
Yeah, after the fourth.
Oh, you had your tube side and he had a
Yes,
vasectomy.
we went.
You doubled down on
we
things.
doubled down.
What's it like for you to hear this, Bella? To hear your mother talk about how hard it was for her to be infertile, as so many people struggle nowadays to have children. How does that feel? Do you realize how fertile you are and that the dangers of all of this?
Yes, I guess.
Okay, so how long do you want to wait? Like, when do you see yourself? Do you see yourself having kids?
Yes, for
Okay,
sure.
okay. How old would you think is an age where you would want to do that?
Definitely when I have enough money to do that.
Okay, so
25.
Say about 25, yeah.
You want to have kids when you're 25?
25 or older, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd say bare minimum. Yeah. Bare minimum.
Maybe you don't rush at 25.
Yeah.
Maybe you wait a little bit longer. Maybe you enjoy your 20s.
Yeah.
That's just my
I
advice
agree with
to you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so, now, but there's no regrets. You had a wonderful life
Yeah.
with all these mistaken
Knock on wood,
children.
Still going, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
and how old is the youngest?
She's 10.
Now, Bella, how old are you?
20.
And what's it like having a 10-year-old sibling?
It's awesome.
Okay, because you're like a mom.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
No, she's not.
I get to hang out with her.
Yeah.
But built-in babysitting.
A little bit, but honestly, Bella kind of grew up as like the only child with 3 other siblings in her mind, you know. So
So you're superior to your siblings.
She was, but she drives them places, but it's not without,
Okay.
She didn't ask to be here. That's sometimes the excuse, you know.
Did you do that?
Because you were saying like, oh, you know, you should be thankful you're here, and she go, well, I didn't even ask to be here.
So you do use this as ammunition a lot.
that is a real thing.
Like, if you got in trouble in high school, did you turn around and go like, at least I'm not pregnant? Did you do that? Yeah, smart.
Listen, I'm not sneaking out to have sex on Halloween.
Yeah, at least, well, listen, like if she found you with a guy, you're like, I ain't pregnant. I don't know what your problem is. I'm more responsible than you.
Good.
Well,
Use
what an
that.
advantage do you have a mother who was so irresponsible as a teen? Well, listen, let's bring in the other. Let's bring in Kristen and Roberta.
Yeah.
And you guys stay here as we bring in everyone. Kristen, you remember Roberta was impregnated by her husband after he got too horny from a strip club. And then it went way quicker than normal. And then Kristen was born. And, of course, Allison was a teenager. And she had Bella, who's now older than her, when she had her first kid. But she also has a 10-year-old. Now, look, we could have a debate all day on whose story we like more. Bring that mic right down to your face.
Yeah, I've done my calculations here, Fred, and it's really close.
It is very difficult. Well, listen, I'll tell you what we have. IHateStevenStrigger.com has agreed to give everyone a Blue Moon 24-karat gold dipped rose. Okay, so that's happening. Now, the other prizes are a Moonlight Aquamarine stud earring.
The aqua stud earrings and the moon and back necklace. Those are the 3 big Mother's Day gifts.
Moon and black diamond necklace, let's
Yeah.
say. So these are 2 diamond gifts, as well as the Blue Moon 24-karat gold dipped rose.
Yes.
Now listen, you were both so wonderful, both of you. All 4 of you were so wonderful, and you were so kind to come in. And you have wonderful husbands that listen to the show. We are going to do something unprecedented today and give you all everything. Everyone wins everything. Hooray! for everyone. What a wonderful Mother's Day. Bella, would you like to say something to your mom? Now she owes you. You got this for her.
Thank you, Mom.
No, not you. She gets it. She owes you something. Now you say what she owes you. Go ahead. She won a bunch of crap because of you. Now go say it. What does she owe you? You can't think anything, can you? Maybe you can, Kristen.
I don't know who you want to speak.
I want the children to go, hey, Ma, I just gave you a bunch of stuff. You brought me into this world by accident, and I'm still getting you things. All right, well, look, you're all wonderful, all four of you. And what great mothers to put up with these husbands that were so irresponsible. Thank you all, and thank you, IHateStevenSinger.com, for these wonderful prizes. You guys have a wonderful Mother's Day.
Happy
on Sunday.
Mother's Day, Roberta,
and
Allison,
and
Bella,
thank you guys
Kristen,
so
thank
much
you.
for coming in. We will be back. The Celtics played last night and lost. We will have all of that for you in just a moment.
game one away from the Celtics.
Key point, obviously, is that they shot 63s and made 15 of them. And they didn't get off of that. You had Karl Anthony Towns, who was playing with 5 fouls for basically the entire second half in overtime. And you got matchups offensively that you wanted. They worked on matchups. Like, you want Karl Anthony Towns on Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum can blow past Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, they were actively working for these matchups. The Knicks made themselves long and big, right?
Yep.
And athletic. But if you can get Karl Anthony Towns out on the perimeter and you get someone like Tatum on him, who's big and strong and is bigger and stronger and faster, not taller, but bigger and stronger and faster, can get around, and that's what they wanted. They didn't take advantage of those matchups. They would just settle for threes, even when they had the matchup that they wanted, which was odd.
That's the thing. The Knicks purposely traded for guys like they spent 5 first-round picks to get Bridges. They made a big deal to get Towns, specifically to match up with the Celtics. And the Celtics still went after those guys they brought in. The Celtics are obviously a better team, but depth-wise and talent-wise. And then last night they didn't play to their strengths.
Anunoby, though, and Bridges, you'd rather have Towns on Tatum than Anunoby or Bridges.
10 times
or
out of
Robinson
10.
or yeah.
10 times out of 10.
Right.
Yes.
And so that my point remains is that there were defensive matchups that they were generating that they could have taken advantage of, which they just weren't. So whatever, like, they shoot a lot of threes. It's boring. I don't want to get into it. Like, they didn't change. What I did find the most interesting, though, was when Brunson, they run a brilliant play, the Knicks, at the end of that game. They get Brunson open. Brunson gets a shot. He's incredibly clutch, obviously. He has been since probably he's been playing basketball. He gets basically an open layup. And I know it's not a full layup, but he's, 3 feet from the basket. The idea that he misses that in regulation, because if he hits that, then you go, all right, that was the game. We take a lot of threes. It's going to happen.
He beat the Pistons in Game 6. He enters to Towns. Towns returns it to Brunson. Floats it up in the left hand. It will not go in. Rebound, Al Horford. Did the Celtics get the timeout before time expired?
And then he goes crazy about 0.4 seconds that nothing was going to happen anyway. So, they, I don't know, you could have gotten a shot off and they didn't. But
yeah, I think there's 0.1 left. They added half a second, 0.6.
Tatum couldn't get a shot off.
I mean, it's a very difficult situation to be in. But what I found interesting, because the 3-point things happened before, is that they didn't win this game at home in overtime. Rested. You had Mikal Bridges, who played 51 minutes last night. He makes the game. He makes the defensive play that ends the game. Why don't you win that in overtime? Like, you were given a gift. Like, how does the team not collectively get together and go, all right, lightning struck. Brunson missed an open shot with no time left. We've got 5 minutes to beat this team that were vastly superior then.
Specifically, going back to the beginning of this conversation, go to the basket and take advantage of your quickness, which they did not do
and then,
in overtime specifically.
And attack Towns, who's got 5 fouls,
Right.
and when he's off the floor, then you know what you do. Then you just foul Robinson, who we all felt bad for. We felt very bad for him because he has that Ben Wallace line drive free throw that doesn't stand a chance. And if it's going in, it's going to rim around an awful lot before it goes in.
And I guess this is where I disagree with Missoula's approach on this, because he's not wrong in that, this is what got them there. You dance with who brung you. And they've been shooting threes all season long, and they're gonna shoot them. At some point, though, you have to accept that it's not working. But he was sticking to the mantra in the postgame that, no, these are the shots that we wanted.
Obviously, like we said, whether it's possession, shots, things, you could always find 5-10 that you could be better at. So to me, I look at the process and the shot quality. So our shot quality was high. The points in the paint were even. We shot one more layup than they did. We shot 10 non-paint twos. They shot much more than that. And so you have to take a look at the process of what we're trying to accomplish. We were able to accomplish good results for the most part. And like I said, there's probably 8 to 10 shots that we could be better at for sure.
I would say the 8 to 10 in the third quarter that were all 3-point attempts. Like, that's when you needed to go back into the paint because, statistically over the course of the 4 quarters, things may have matched up in terms of paint points versus what you had versus the Knicks. But that third quarter, when it got away from you, is when you got away from trying to keep that that evenness between the 3-point attempts and the shots you were getting inside.
And plus, Brunson made his threes and Tatum didn't. That also is part of the story, too, is that Brunson, at the end of that game, aside from the missed shot at the end, was making his threes and Tatum was missing them.
Yeah.
Their star outplayed your star at the end of the game.
Okay, if they don't have Porzingis, can they win this series?
Yes.
I think they could win 4 in a row without Porzingis.
They can beat this team without Porzingis. They can't beat Cleveland or Oklahoma City without Porzingis.
All right, so what's going on with Porzingis, Joe?
I found out during the game, so as soon as I found out, we made the adjustment. But I'll check on him here before we leave.
We could smell it first.
He had diarrhea.
We smelled something very foul on the bench, and we were like, "What is that?" And then Porzingis just got up and walked off the court.
Just the missed layups from Porzingis and others, but
Jaylen Brown in overtime.
Yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis, more like Kristaps diarrheasis.
I have a bad case of diarrhea.
No, say it. I don't know if everyone heard it. That's a joke that needs repeating. It was so good.
His name is Kristaps Porzingis, and so and kind of maybe he had diarrhea. I say more like Kristaps diarrheas. How that goes.
I'm going to let it sit there for a while.
Or you could go Jaylen Brownson.
But he didn't have diarrhea.
Yeah, he might
go
get
to
it.
the Porzingis one again.
He might. I know what you're going to do. You're going to make fun of me.
No,
How
just going
dare
to give
you.
it the stinger that it deserves.
No, did he have diarrhea or is he hurt?
No, he's
illness.
got
That mysterious illness that knocked him out during the regular season.
That respiratory thing flared up again. Is it allergies?
That guy's body, man, is just it's
Yikes.
a tough haul for him.
Oh, what about?
We've talked about this before. That curse, like you've been given this like multi-million-dollar body, this body that can generate. It's basically a lottery ticket that you've cashed in, but along with that comes consistent pain and immobility and illness. Like it's quite a trade-off there. It'd be an interesting book on Kristaps Porzingis, I feel, in there.
What about Hauser? I thought he just stunk for the handful of minutes that he played last night. Is he hurt too?
Yes.
I think he hurt his ankle, landed on it. I'll check on him here before we leave. But I think I didn't see the play, but I think he hurt sprained his ankle.
Okay.
Sauna, cold plunge, repeat. That'll get him out of there.
So first he stunk when he airballed the one shot that he
Right off the bench, airballed a corner three, and then he sprained his ankle on a closeout of an opposing 3-point shot. And according to reports, he left the building with his ankle in a walking boot. So I would not expect Sam Hauser back
He attempted
anytime soon.
I apologize. He attempted 2 shots and airballed the first, missed the second, and managed to sprain his ankle somehow, all inside of 4 minutes.
Okay, so listen to national sports media at your own peril today, because you're going to be hearing a lot of things you already know, which is the amount of threes that the Celtics took. I don't think locally it's going to be that big a deal because it's been a conversation for 2 years. I would assume that it's not going to be that big a deal on the account of that this all happened last year and they easily won the championship. But nationally, because you got the Knicks fans all horned up, because every national guy's a Knicks fan, which is the worst. When everyone's a fan of something, I hate it. I really do. And this Knicks garbage running around. Was Spike Lee wasn't at the game last night.
I didn't see him. No,
he
They was at the Met Gala, I believe.
That's true. They would have put the camera on
Such a
him
Knicks
on
fan.
17th.
He goes to the Met Gala instead of the Knicks game.
Did you see Millar sitting next to Nick Verano?
I did see that.
Yeah.
Yes, on the Knicks, next to the Knicks bench.
Yeah.
Is that the guy who owns one? Why does that name sound familiar?
Nick Verano has been in studio, I think, with you, maybe one time without you.
He's a restaurateur.
Restaurants in the north.
Yeah. I think I was on the duck boat with him on during the
Strega.
2011 parade.
Yes.
I was on the duck boat with him. You
T-
could tell it was an important one.
T-Bone punched up your joke.
Oh yeah, okay, let's hear it.
Chris Craps Porzingis.
Too good. And didn't have diarrhea in it. Swing and a miss, T-Bone.
It's got crap and poo in it.
I'm not going for dirty toilet humor. I'm going for diarrhea humor. It's a totally different thing.
He wants show-stopping stuff, is what he wants.
Yeah, I'm a cerebral comic. I'm not Larry the Cable Guy
Chris
here.
Craps Poozingis.
No, we got to start. We got to think.
Look, I get it. Poo. Right, crap and poo. I get it. Where's the diarrhea? You know, if we're in the writer's room and I'm showrunner, I'm saying, where's the diarrhea?
Where's the uncomfortable pause after he's done telling the
T-Bone
joke?
says it's a smart line for a smart audience.
Well, then use it in the middays because, baby, we're sticking with diarrhea. You come up with the diarrhea one, then we'll talk about
It's
it.
essentially Jerk Store, and he's sticking with it.
Okay. All right. Jared Weiss will join us. He knows well, except for John, he knows far more about what's going on with the Celtics. Him and John are on the same level. Were you upset, John?
I was upset the way they lost. Yes, I was.
But you're not concerned.
No, I still think the Celtics are a far better team with or without Porzingis, and they should win the series. Yes.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly. And maybe people will calm down about Indiana winning. Well, Cleveland's hurt, so we'll see. All right, we'll be back with him in just a moment.
Just thinking like the door could be opening for you. Don't mess this up. Don't mess it up. Okay? That's all.
I'll tell you, if it's Indiana and the Celtics again, you want to talk about garbage. Woof. All right.
Headline, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The New York Knicks came back from down 20 points in the third quarter, forced overtime, and then beat the Celtics 108-105 in Game 1 of their second-round playoff series at TD Garden. Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby each scored 29 points for the winners, and Joe Mazzulla then saw Mikal Bridges, steal the ball from Jaylen Brown as time ran out to keep the green from potentially tying the game again.
Yeah, just a read. Jalen's great in space. They're going to foul in that situation, so it's got to be catch and shoot. So just a read to try to create space, get a quick catch and shoot for Jalen. Ran that play a few times. I think he was able to get some good separation in there. Bridges made a good play.
Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown each scored 23 for the Celtics in the loss. And to make matters worse, Kristaps Porzingis left in the first half with an illness. Sam Hauser left in the third quarter with a sprained ankle, and neither player returned. Game 2 is tomorrow night at TD Garden. Out west, Oklahoma City kicked away an 11-point lead with under 5 minutes left at home. They lost to Denver in Game 1, 121-119. In hockey news, it was the worst-case scenario at the draft lottery for the Bruins. Coming in, they had the 5th overall selection. They wound up with pick 7 this summer. The New York Islanders moved up 10 spots to capture the first overall pick. Red Sox had last night off. They host Texas at Fenway Park tonight. Former Patriots wide receiver Julian Edelman has been elected to the team's Hall of Fame, and the Baltimore Ravens yesterday released kicker Justin Tucker. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Premier Basement Waterproofing. Buying a home or finishing your basement? Do what Beetle did. Get it waterproofed first so you never see a drop of water again. 844-LIVE-DRY or premierbasement.net. It's game over for water. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Here we go.
Boom. I win.
Boom.
Yeah.
Hit somebody. We've got a passion for Boston sports.
Get angry.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Hey, listen, if you've got to go, we understand, but make sure you bring the Sports Hub app with you so you can hear more of Todger and Hardy.
That's what I want on my tombstone.
On the Sports Hub.
A shot for me, a good shot for me might be.
What you can watch us live. You watch Joe live. They got highlights of all the other shows. They got Alex Barth, Ty Anderson. They got a bunch of stuff up there that's very good. Hardy's a maniac. So because we had that contest, they brought food in for the contestants, and they had him in the conference room eating away, the hands and everything. And Hardy just goes in there and starts picking up food and eating it, shoving it in his own mouth.
All right, so Ryan Beaton was also in there eating, and Nick was in there eating. And look, it's all like in proper food containers, and the women who were in here for the contest were all very clean, nice-looking ladies. What's the problem? What's the difference between that and you going to a restaurant where God knows how many people are handling your food before it's put on a plate and brought out to you?
Well, God knows, first of all. And second of all, because he's watching over us. And second of all, two people are touching the food in the kitchen?
You have no idea. You've worked in kitchens. You know.
Yeah, no, in all seriousness, I have. And it would probably be at most two people, if not one.
Okay, so what makes you think everyone was in those bags touching everything as opposed to just selecting one item and taking it out, which is what I did?
I don't know. You're too trusting. It's going to really come get you one day. I'm
still here.
You see, would you have ate out of that thing?
Yes, I think you're a maniac. I would have had it, no problem.
Well, that doesn't make me feel good. You could have just said you would have done it. You didn't have to take a shot at me in the meantime.
Do you grab the bathroom door handle when you leave?
It depends what my master tells me to do. I'll lick it if I'm told.
Yes.
If he asks me to open it for
7 times.
Yes.
Do I touch? I'm actually not a germaphobe with my hands. I don't know. It's just open food. I just am weirded out by it. You know what I think it is when I was in high school, like I had friends who would make sheets of acid, so they always had liquid acid around, and I was super paranoid of liquid acid getting on everything, and I think that's ruined me for everything. Because these idiots, these fools that I hung out with would get liquid acid in a tear what is it called, the teardrop thing, eyedropper full of liquid acid. It could ruin your life. You get that on your skin that seeps through. You're hallucinating for a week.
I'm sorry, Zoe's texting me. What food is there?
Bagels. Boy, that midday show can't get enough of contributing.
Bagels, scones, and croissant.
Nice.
And so you have these idiots with blotter paper, like making their own acid. Like, by the way, good luck if you bought one. You're either going to get a beat piece or something with like 7,000 hits on it. And, they're sitting there like, while they're high, making blotter acid, and you're just like, ah.
Well, I didn't have a bunch of Hesher friends in high school that were trying to dose me, so I guess it's okay for me to eat a scone that's in a bag in the conference room.
Well, you had magician friends, and they could have made it disappear. Or you could have picked it up and juggled it.
They were mostly juggler friends.
Yeah. Those are much safer.
I'm wondering, I'm starting to get to the bottom of some of my things, and I'm starting to think I'm finding them. Jared Weiss has been led into brilliantly. He writes about the NBA for The Athletic, who do a tremendous job. We're all subscribers. Jared Weiss, hello, sir.
Good morning. I have no idea what's going on right now.
Hardy ate food that was out.
Do you eat community food, Jared?
If you don't know the people.
I'm not sure what the term community food is.
Okay, I'll give you an example.
There's a buffet at the Celtics game that I eat out.
No. Okay, you go to a restaurant. There's a basket of bread on a table. The people have gotten up and left, and the basket of bread's still there. Do you eat a roll out of it?
In extremely hungry circumstances, I'd go for it, but generally, no. That's a weird move.
Okay, fair enough. That's essentially what happened. There was a basket of pastries that were for public consumption, and the public consumed it, and then Hardy went in and had one himself.
I'm starving, Jared. I'm ravenous. I needed food.
Yeah,
And if they're good pastries, you were talking about like a cheese Danish here. How can you pass that up?
What did you have, Hardy?
Croissant.
Would you do it for a croissant, Jared?
That's too generic. Even with the pronunciation, my dad would be proud of you on that one. But no, that's too generic.
Oh, you got one of those dandy boy dads, huh? With the pronouncing everything that way from the continent.
He just took French in high school, and he likes to remind us whenever he pronounces croissant.
Well, if he can remember anything from high school, God bless him. All right, well, Jared, okay, what happened last night?
Oh, God. Sometimes you just miss an NBA record amount of threes. It happens to all of us, right? Who hasn't shown up to work and just missed an NBA record number of threes? That's the name of the game. It wasn't just a random they were cold kind of thing. It never really is at this stage of the playoffs. And the big thing here was the Knicks, you do what's called cross-match hunting or target pick and roll against a team where you're trying to get their weak defender on your best player so that he can go ISO on them. The problem is if you do that with the Knicks, they have elite help defenders. OG Anunoby, who was unbelievable in the second half of this game. Mikal Bridges, who, even though offensively was disappointing, had a phenomenal defensive game, even besides just snatching the ball out of Jaylen Brown's hands to win the game.
Yeah, he played the 51 minutes. Obviously, he was doing something right, yeah.
Yeah, he took it easy in that game if he's a Tibbs player. So, Josh Hart, obviously. So, elite help defenders that get to stay in the help situation when you're going up at Mitchell Robinson, at Cat, at Jalen Brunson. And because of that, when their weak defenders are standing up your guy and he has to make the pass, if he's passing to the shooter and Mikal Bridges is the one rotating over, the shooter's not getting a good look. And I think the Knicks did a good job of repeatedly contesting all of these shots so that the Celtics, they took a ton of threes, but they didn't get a lot of really, really easy looks at three.
All right, so we had this conversation. It seemed like the Celtics were getting the matchups they wanted on offense and not taking advantage of them. For instance, in my opinion, if you get Karl Anthony Towns on Jason Tatum, that's a matchup that they can take advantage of. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but whatever.
It's very clearly is the case.
And they were getting stuff like that. And so you and I are on the same page here. So they were getting matchups that I thought were beneficial to them and not taking advantage of them, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree with that.
I think what it is that the Knicks defenders, their weaker defenders, held up pretty well. And then their shift activity, all the stuff around that one-on-one matchup at the top was really, really effective. Like it was just like a very good defensive performance in crunch time from New York. And, the Knicks, I don't know if they have some sort of like voodoo doll or situation or what it is, but I was joking before the series that their whole strategy against the Pistons was they're just going to like fall apart. And then the Pistons are just going to magically let them back into the game, right? Because their crunch time offense is going to fall apart. And I think we said here, like, the Celtics aren't going to do that. There's no way the Celtics are going to just let things fall apart at the end. They're the best team in the NBA. But the Knicks have some sort of magic voodoo situation going on here, and the Celtics completely fell apart. So Boston's got to have to wake up to that. They got their wake-up call early.
What was your opinion of the quality of threes that they took in the second half? The argument I had was they missed a lot of open looks early, but there were contested looks in the second half, and they still kept firing away.
It's, Jaylen Brown, he made this point during the game, made this point after the game, that he wants them to start getting some twos in the mix when the threes aren't falling so that they can at least get something comfortable. And I would say that's obviously right, because you don't need to take 63s. You don't need to take that much. You don't need to break the NBA record for three-point attempts in a playoff game. They weren't able to get to one of the things that they do really well is cross-match post hunting, which is that they like to get guys the ball on a weaker defender in the post and allow one of their top players to get into the paint, and then he could usually draw two and he can kick it out. But the thing is, there's not a lot of guys to attack in the post with the Knicks, unless you can get Brunson. And then even when you do get Brunson, the Knicks have so much length around him to make it hard to pass out of it, that the Knicks are able to take away that one part of the strategy from Boston pretty effectively. So the Celtics just didn't really have their kind of go-to thing. There was some chances where Brown was able to get Brunson and he was able to take those little, kind of floater jumper things, but you can only get those kind of plays like 2 or 3 times in the playoffs before it's gone. And they did get that, and then it was gone.
It seemed like they were front rimming a lot of the misses on the 3-pointers early, and later, like John said, I think more of them were contested, and they were taking the looks weren't as good. But early on, when they were missing, I was wondering, is it legs? I don't know. I don't know if there's anything to that, but they were coming up short. It seemed like a large percentage at the time.
Usually front rimming is actually more of a sign of a good contest, because it means that you have to increase your arc and you're not kind of adjusted to that yet. And so therefore the higher arc shot, you tend to catch front rim a little bit more. Obviously it could be a legs thing, but I think in this instance it would just be that the length of the contesters, whether it's Anunoby or Bridges or Mitchell Robinson or even Cat, who actually had like a pretty solid defensive game in the second half, that's going to affect you and get you to shoot a little bit higher, get your rhythm a little bit out, get you to maybe get it off a little bit quicker, and so you're not all the way through your release, and then you're going to probably front rim it a little bit more. So I look at this stuff as mostly just an adjustment. Like, the Knicks are a little bit different than the Magic. The Magic series was a lot more about just beating the crap out of each other and kind of wearing each other down, while the Knicks are a little bit strategically more, kind of more versatile a little bit on both ends of the floor than what Orlando was able to provide. And so the Celtics they missed a ton of shots in this game, and that's why they lost the game. But also, the Knicks missed a ton of free throws as well.
You may have just answered this question, but I'll ask you to state it more definitively. Does last night change your opinion of this series at all?
No, I would have predicted Celtics in 6, and so I still think that's the most likely outcome here. Boston, they're so good at the offensive adjustments. They go into a game and they aren't creating the shots that they want. They come out and they're getting Tatum in totally different spots on the floor. They're getting Brown in different spots on the floor. They're able to figure it out pretty effectively. A big part of the series will be opening up those corner threes for Drew Holiday. That's where he's always been super effective. He hit a big one late in this game. He also missed one late in this game. They want to get him a lot of those looks, get him engaged. But Mazzulla tends to figure these things out. I'm not too concerned about this.
Okay. Were you surprised they lost in overtime?
No, I mean, the Knicks had the energy advantage. That was pretty clear. In the second half, they were playing with just more defensive fervor. They were able to get some better shots, I would say. Jalen Brunson is just such a killer late in games.
But he missed that shot in regulation. And I thought, okay, because, based on what he did in that Pistons series, I thought, okay, well, he lightning struck. What are the chances he's missing that shot at the end of the game, of a game? So I figured, you got a second chance here. You've missed an NBA record of amount of threes, And now this game's going in overtime. You're by far the better team. What's going on? I was very surprised that they lost that game. When it went to overtime, I was surprised.
I mean, the funny thing with overtime is there's not enough time to really make counter runs. So whichever team kind of makes the run, they're the team that tends to win the game. Maybe you can eke something out really, really late. But the Knicks just had more ball pressure, effective ball pressure. And you saw that, I forget who it was that had the steal where they got the pass that went out to Horford in the corner and they flew out of bounds to get that fast break going. Those are the kind of plays that when you can pull that off, that will really swing things, especially because they were able to get a 3 after that possession. So it's as simple as you get that quick little run right there and your gap is there and there's not really a way to close the gap unless the other team just cannot let you get a shot off. And so I think in overtime, there wasn't just quite enough phenomenal defensive execution for one team or another, or for the Celtics to really make that comeback. And then, they just Cat had that really, really smart foul. He figured out that they needed to make that foul in that moment on Jalen, and that took away the shot that I think the Celtics expected to have, and that's where it was over.
What do you know about the future of Kristaps Porzingis and Sam Hauser in this series?
Well, Porzingis being sick is a lot more promising for his return than Sam Hauser, because Hauser just straight up rolled his ankle landing on someone. He was in a lot of pain. He walked out of there. He wasn't in a boot, but he had a flip-flop on the ankle that he rolled instead of wearing a sneaker. So clearly it was very swollen. But the fact that they didn't put him in a boot and on crutches is a lot more promising. So I'd imagine that he probably wouldn't be ready for the next game, but that's just completely speculating. But also, based on the way that they're playing their rotations right now, they're not playing Hauser. So unless Porzingis is out sick for the second game, Luke Cornett will probably be the 8th man instead of Hauser, and Hauser will be somebody they'll bring in as an adjustment if they need more shooting as the series goes on. So he probably will have time to recover. With Porzingis, I don't know exactly what the illness issue is. Joe Mazzulla didn't know when we got to talk to him, apparently. So we'll find out, I guess, today when we go to practice in a few hours.
Well, if you can't find him, he's going from sauna to cold plunge and back and forth, as the chess masters have taught him. I don't know if you read that article in the Globe, but...
Yeah, I had time to skim through it. I mean, if you ever done a sauna to cold plunge to hot tub rotation, it wakes you up. If you were feeling sick, you will feel completely fine when you're done with that.
I think Fred's done it, and I think you've opened up a door mercifully for you at the end of your time. Otherwise, you would be subjected to a soliloquy on the benefits of cold plunging and Fred's remarkable achievements in that area.
Yeah, thank you, Hardy, for covering that. It saved my voice. Jared, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate your time. Jared Weiss, he doesn't know what's going on right now, but he writes for The Athletic. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
I'm going to go do a cold plunge right now.
Oh, dude, you just get into that meditative state, bro. Deal with the pain because it's going away.
I'm going to go do some push hands.
Breathe through it, man. All right, take it easy, Jared. Thank you for the time. There you go. The great Jared Weiss. You will be hearing a lot about missed three-pointers today, but that has been over 2 years of conversation. And so,
I was with you, John, in that it seemed like they were more contested in the second half. Something popped up as we were talking that apparently only 2 were in tight coverage. Just 2 of the Celtics' 37 second-half threes last night were against tight coverage per NBA player tracking, including 1 in OT. The other 35 were either open, 5 for 20, or wide open, 5 for 15.
Oh, there's no doubt they missed a ton of open looks in the first half.
But this is second-half numbers from Zach Cox.
Yeah.
All right. We will be back in just a moment with all of your emails, your wonderful emails.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the...
wrestle game 1 away from the Celtics.
Tomorrow night, game 2.
It's blocked by Horford.
The Celtics and the New York Knicks.
Got it.
The TD Garden.
White 3. Got it for the lead.
Randy and Max have the call of the game at 7.
Jaylen Brown overdue. Hits a 3.
Celtics playoff basketball presented by Charles D. Sheehy. Boston versus New York. Long-standing rivalry. This is where the Celtics go for Banner 19. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
He's elongating.
Weekday mornings.
Here goes Hardy.
Dutcher and Hardy.
I no longer love Baby.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Isn't this funny? I mentioned before that we might talk about this today, and now he's on TV. Nate Bargatze is on the Kelly and Mark show, which is a great show. They're married in real life.
Yeah, but so they have a chemistry, yes. But they keep it fun. They keep it light. And it is good. I enjoy watching it with the sound off.
Mark officiated Howard Stern's wedding.
Oh.
He did the vows. Isn't that nice?
That's wonderful.
And so Nate Bargatze is very funny, obviously. He's one of the great stand-ups. He's not John Mulaney. Let's not go nuts. But he is, he's a clean comic that doesn't delve into political or sexual matters, and he's managed to be, like, extraordinarily funny.
Yeah, very different, very different style from what we've become accustomed to in the last.
But
ever.
almost, because usually when you think of stuff like that, like Southern comics that are clean, you think of like hack garbage that only appeals to dumb hillbillies. And Bargatze is a unicorn in that he appeals to everyone. So there's this article in Esquire, and he said he's doing 2 more comedy tours, and then he's quitting stand-up. And what he wants to do is he wants to be the new Walt Disney. What does this include? And he's not kidding. There are plans in place for Nateland, an amusement park, and on the site of what used to be an Opryland amusement park in Nashville, Tennessee. So he wants to get a stable of clean family comics, good ones though. Not Dave Coulier or something, like good comics. He wants to branch out. And he made a good point because he goes, everyone talked about Severance, but no one watched it. And then they go, well, that can't be right. But then they looked, and 3 million people watched the finale of Severance. And 4 million people watch an episode of Survivor. So he said it might even be easier to make Severance than it is to make Everybody Loves Raymond, because your audience when you make Severance. Like, you're making it for those 3 million people, right? You're making it for, what critics want. He makes an interesting point. And when you're making something for a mass audience where you're saying like a Cosby Show type of thing, we're making this for a mass audience where people on both coasts and in the middle of the country are going to love this. If you think about it, that can be a much more difficult exercise. It was an interesting way of thinking, because you usually go, well, that's just dumbed down crap, right? It's for mass consumption. Mm-hmm. But if to have a truly hit sitcom, which I know they don't do anymore, but like a half an hour comedy show, you can't just have it be to be like a legendary show. Like even Seinfeld, even though Seinfeld's brilliant, Seinfeld did that. Like people in middle America liked it. It doesn't have to be a bad sitcom. It just has to appeal to a mass audience. And Everybody Loves Raymond isn't a bad sitcom. It's it was entirely watchable. And, I think you would agree that a very funny stand-up comic.
Yeah, I like Ray.
Ray Romano's a great stand.
I still hear his stand up from time to time, and it's better than I thought, because I knew him first as the TV show Ray Romano. But he's funny.
He's one of the best Dr. Katz guests that was ever on. And by the way, he has a movie about his son who played a son. He's dad whose son plays high school basketball. That's a very good independent film. All right, so I did my Porzingis joke because he has diarrhea.
Right.
I don't know who this is from because it didn't say, but it is in Chip Chipperson style. Porzingis left the game with an illness. What is he? To catch a cold up there? You know, because he's so tall and people are always asking him, how's the air up there?
Right.
And then this is even more chippy. Who's this Zingis guy everyone keeps showing so much empathy for? Poor Zingis. You're welcome, Freddie No Pockets. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, T-Bone tried to punch up your joke because you, what did you call him? Kristaps diarrhea Zingus?
Something along those lines.
T-Bone said Chris Craps poo Zingus, and then Mitch emailed in squirts craps poo Zingus. Poozanus?
That actually makes more sense to me.
You know what?
That makes more sense.
Squirts craps Poozanus.
That's great. You know what we've done? Is we've taken Boston and we've collectively made it a creative exercise. So maybe if you're a teacher and you're late to work today, maybe you get the 4th grade class together.
Yeah.
And you go, Kristaps Porzingis had diarrhea, we're assuming. Can we come up with a funny name using his name with diarrhea?
Change his name so that it's diarrhea-based. Go.
Yeah. I mean, now with the thought exercise for it's the Wordle for Boston we've created.
Wow.
Work on your own, and then we're going to break out into groups, and we're going to...
Oh, yeah, the group breakout. You got to do that. That's important. Everyone loves the group breakout.
It is absolutely
at every webinar that I've ever been on.
May have learned something about Sarah from Everett here.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, believe it or not, she emailed. And after we had the Mother's Day Mistakes contestants come in here, we had Allison, who was in here with Bella, and they looked like sisters. Sarah emailed in, Yummy Mummy Allison, yes, please. Smart to double down on no more oopsies. She's hot.
Huh.
Is Sarah from Everett a bisexual person?
I don't know her to be or not to be. I know that she's been with her boyfriend for a long time.
She's thinking about branching out.
Here's one from Dave. Boys, I didn't know we were going to do blanks this morning, but we did. Erections, words. Then we wrapped it all up and had a good cry. Fantastic segment. Well done. Allison, though, meow. That is from Dave. So,
which one was Allison?
The mom, the Halloween mom.
Okay, so it was the mom that he's interested in.
Yes.
Okay. Remember, we played this yesterday. That is from my first pitch for the Woo Sox that my son and I did.
After you were done. That's
which you can see at Fred Toucher. You can see the man breast incident beforehand as well at Fred Toucher on Instagram. We are well above 20. We're flying now. I don't know what happened, but I'm getting like hundreds of followers.
You
a
hit
day.
that threshold, man, and all of a sudden you're in other people's algorithms you weren't before. And
yeah, I got like
that's what they
hot
want.
girls like DMing me and stuff. It's a whole situation.
You're up over 26,000 now.
It's the Bob Mold bump.
The Bob, yeah, Bob Mold bump, baby. Crickets at Polar Park, they're 1,000%. This is from Adam. They're 1,000% added that cricket sound to affect you, Freddie. They definitely done you dirty. No chance that was true audio from that environment. Not cool, Freddie T. Love the show. We got you back.
Okay.
Was he playing crickets?
See, if he's playing crickets, then you play crickets. You don't play frogs and like running water through a stream.
Again, I'm just going to play the clip real quick. But doesn't that sound like if you were to pull up on YouTube like a 10-hour-long sleep, sound machine kind of a thing? Like
Benjamin!
Ambient noise, right? With there's running water and there's frogs and there's crickets and it's meant to put you into that space.
Call in.
Okay, Fred and Milo, it's time to simultaneously wind up and give us your best Polar Park pitches.
But the noise is going on while he's talking.
It's while he's talking, so they would have had to have it run on the whole thing. Could you play the clip from the top, please?
Yes, please.
You want me to play the whole thing? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
And now, to throw a first pitch side by side, we welcome a loving father and son duo. First, we welcome the popular co-host of Toucher and Hardy with Rob Hardy-Pool, which airs weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I'm sorry, I have to stop it. He was not given a script. My son did not tell him to say this. It's my son's just a player on the team.
I'm glad you stopped it, too, because so far I hear no sound other than Karma Chameleon, which the organ player's ripping.
Yeah, but I told Milo every time I play this, no one told Ben or wrote anything. No one knew anything except Milo and Fred. Fred's the host of the co-host of the show.
Please welcome Fred Toucher. And we also welcome his son, a star pitcher at Lawrence Academy in Groton, Milo Toucher.
Yeah,
Okay.
dude, there's
a little bit of something
over that.
There's a little bit of something now that
Maybe he's doing a live mix, though. Maybe he's...
Well, that would have been mean, because I can tell you why. They had a little kid playing the organ. So, because Polar Park has like a real organ, and they had a kid, it was Autism Awareness Day, and they had a little kid, and he was jamming away on the organ. So he was playing the organ. So I don't know if they're playing frog noises over the kid playing the organ.
That'd be double rude.
Maybe they, but why would they play it over the organ?
Okay, if you're going to goof on somebody, do your Porzingis joke. Just, what's his name, Fred?
Christoph's Diarrhea Zingas.
That's what you go with.
You know who's jealous that they didn't make Wordle for the world? This jackass. Fred made a feet first Belichick and Diarrhea Brazingas.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're playing it. Stop playing things. You guys did this yesterday, too. Yeah, dude, I think that's actually frogs.
There's something in the background there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. And I'm looking, I don't know why I didn't think to look at this yesterday, to look at a map of the area. There's no wetlands or anything. Because I was thinking, like, was there something? No, you were in downtown Worcester. So there's really no... Was there a swamp nearby?
Hey,
There's no river running by.
I was in downtown San Juan and heard, you can hear them. They're there.
Yeah.
I don't think he's playing an effect. I think it's actually...
You think they're just going nuts? I mean, this is that time of year. Like, peepers come out this time of year, and if you go for a walk in the woods, you hear them going bananas.
Yeah. Okay, so that sound is going on in the woods at some woods? Yeah, I think that's a natural sound. I'm guessing.
Ben is online too, Nicholas says.
Okay.
Well, there you go. Now we get the definitive answer.
Benjamin? Oh, you got to turn the phone on. Benjamin!
Ready, baby.
Nice to see you on Sunday. Thank you for your wonderful introduction.
By the way, you are looking quite svelte. I mean, you look good. You slimmed right down. I mean, Milo is taller than everybody in that room, but you look great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Ben. I quit drinking 2 years ago, so that helped. I was very bloated and not taking care of myself. But
now you look like a snack.
Yeah, now I'm getting laid constantly. It's just awesome. All right, so hence taking my son to the game with me. Now, Benjamin, were you playing a sound effect while we were throwing out the pitches?
It was not intentional. Our board op had lo-fi chill vibes playing in his headphones before the game. And the way that the recording works is everything that was going through the board was going into the recording. It wasn't coming out in the ballpark, but he actually realized it and turned it down. That's why it kind of pans down. So, yeah, there's no woods nearby Fuller Park.
All right.
It's all concrete jungle.
So the audience in the stadium was not hearing that noise. That was just because that audio of my first pitch is from the Woo Sox. Like, it's from their production team. So that that wasn't playing over the speakers.
Right. The crickets now. No, he just had that routed into his headphones. There's no ambient mics on the ballpark for the in-park stuff. On the broadcast side for Nesson and everything else, there's the ambient mics. That's on the other side of the room. But nothing goes through us. So, yeah, that just happened to be there. But there were people cheering. There was a bit of a hurrah when you put your hands together so victoriously and clasped and displayed for the audience.
The guy told me to wave, and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, why is that guy listening to serene nature sounds before the game?
He's dealing with Benjamin. He needs to calm down.
That needs to be addressed.
Sometimes he gets confused whether he's at a ballpark or a boba tea place. It happens.
It does. Who doesn't it happen to? Well, Benjamin is the stadium announcer there for the Woo Sox game. He does a great job. He's a great supporter of the show. Thank you, Benjamin.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Freddie T. Love you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
I called it. I nailed it.
Yeah, you did.
Ah.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right. That's right. Now that I've seen a picture of that, Daniel is Fabio if he was flamboyantly gay.
That's not accurate.
Have you seen pictures of Daniel?
I kind of don't want to see a picture of Daniel, and especially now that you just painted that photo. I want to go.
How about Scott Stapp if he was flamboyantly gay?
Oh, so
very similar
that
haircut.
Paints a picture right there.
Some flowing locks.
Nope.
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to be a long-haired
Well, how do you see
No,
him,
dude,
Marty?
no. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
No,
That's not
Daniel
what my
is
mental picture was at all.
Yeah, Daniel is no like wilted or hiding in the corner. He's no
wallflower.
That's right. That's what I meant. He's no wallflower. Daniel is a man who has posed for professional photographs, shirtless with his hair blowing in the wind.
Wow, he's beautiful.
He's wearing leather garments. He's got everything going for him.
Man.
Yeah.
You didn't describe him.
I do want to see a picture of him now, I think.
Well, I mean, he was very professionally and casually dressed when he would pick us up in his, I don't know what year that Honda Pilot was, but it was like new condition because the cleanliness and the maintenance of the vehicle.
Did he have a vibe with did your wife and daughter, did they seem to have a connection with him? Because he's a heartthrob.
I made sure they kept their distance. I was always riding shotgun.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
three of them were in the back.
Of course you were.
I'm not saying the interest would have been reciprocated. I'm just wondering if they found him attractive.
Hardy didn't want to take any chances.
You know what? They didn't say, and I didn't ask.
Yeah, let's just say let's just let the vibrations be the vibrations,
Exactly,
and not discuss them so much. All right, when we come back, we'll finish the show, and that will be that, and then we start our own amusement park. All right, here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics lost to the Knicks last night, 108-105 in overtime in Game 1 of that second-round playoff series. Jason Tatum, 23 points and 16 rebounds in the loss, but the Celtics blew a 20-point third-quarter lead in this one, Game 2, tomorrow night at TD Garden. The Bruins fell from 5th to 7th in the NHL's draft lottery last night. The New York Islanders hopped up 10 spots to grab the number 1 overall selection. Red Sox open up a 3-game series with Texas at Fenway Park tonight. Lucas Giolito opposes old friend Nathan Eovaldi, and the fans yesterday elected Julian Edelman to the Patriots Hall of Fame. Sports Hub headlines are proudly brought to you by Celsius Energy Drinks. Refresh your energy with zero sugar, essential vitamins, and proven ingredients. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 10 o'clock.
You're listening to Touch.
Oh, I got one more email. Tim, this is kind of funny. Hi, Fred. Since you just, our friend Tim, he emails all of us. Since you mentioned him, Dave Coulier played in a quote-unquote celebrity hockey tournament when I was maybe 13 or so. And they had him playing against city kids, and people were so brutal to him. Every time he was on the ice, people were just shooting the puck right at him. It is something that I thought was funny at the time, but now I just feel sad for him. Yeah, the guys that can skate that are famous are few and far between, and it's a big opportunity. They seem to really lean into it.
So, have you ever noticed Steve Carell, who seems to be like a good guy and pretty aware of himself and not doing things like that? There's the episode of The Office where they do the movie, the Michael Scarn thing, and there's a decent amount of footage of Steve Carell out there skating as the hero of his own story, and I just look at it and shake my head. I'm like, okay, you can skate. Why? Why did you feel compelled to put that in an episode of The Office?
Yeah.
You could have said no. No, I don't want to do that. That's not funny. Michael Scott shouldn't be good at anything. Just because Steve Carell can skate doesn't mean Michael Scott should be able to skate.
It's funny. I don't like that episode as it is, and it's funny as I watch Seinfeld. If it's on TV, I will have Seinfeld on in the background. I cannot do that. I love The Office, but I just can't watch it anymore. I hate Jim so much. I really do. And I read a wonderful article about why I hate Jim.
Oh.
Because he's a dick. Like, everyone else he's so above everyone else that and he's supposed to be you, right? Like, he's supposed to be you, the audience.
To be the audience, yeah.
But I don't want to be him. Plus, to dragging his feet with Pam, my God. Step up to the plate.
There's one of the early Halloween episodes the other day, and Pam had the real curly hair going on.
Yeah. They made her unattractive.
Oh.
I thought the relationship in the one place that the English Office was far superior was the Jim and Pam relationship. I thought the one in the English version was much more believable.
I agree with you on that, Fred. Will you still watch the? I know you just said what you said about the American version, but you still watch the original?
I watched the original before The Office, the American version came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna suck," because the first episode of The Office is basically just an episode of the British Office,
right?
And I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna suck." I'm so cool. I watched You're like wow, you watched a BBC show. You're so great. And then I was like, and then it became better. So I was like, oh, congratulations, especially the last season.
You seen Stanley in them Honey Nut Cheerios commercials?
Listen, they're hanging in there.
A lot more hair now than he did before.
They're hanging in there.
And my favorite Office story is Kevin. It was during the basketball game, which is a great episode when they play against the Warehouse. But Kevin, not part of that episode really. And in between takes, Kevin, who the director said was the only real athlete on the entire cast, he's out there just draining threes. Mm-hmm. So if you watch that episode to the very end, they show Kevin just sinking threes, hitting legitimate jump shots, but he didn't play in the game.
Well, I'm going to tell you this because people are going to call in. The guy who played Jim was a very good basketball player at Newton South. His brother is the all-time points leader at Newton South. It's the banner's up. So you can see it. What's the hell?
Krasinski. John Krasinski.
Who is not the guy from Saturday Night Live that did the...
Tim Karazinski.
Who did the professor character.
Right.
Yeah, I'm an ass man.
Oh. Thank you to Allison and Bella and Kristen and Roberta, who all came in for the Mother's Day mistake.
Roberta, don't let anyone give you any flack today, all right? All right? And while you're out there today driving around...
And Bella, let's go see a movie together. Bella, let's go see Bella Lugosi.
Right. Yep. All right.
Can we go?
All right. That'll do it for us. Think of diarrhea names for Christoph Porzingis while you're at it.
We'll do that at 7, 8, and 9 tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe we'll just devote the whole show to it. Maybe I'll create an app for that.
A crap?
Yep, an app called Crap. All right, that'll do it.